Well, what's going on? One of these days, I'm gonna make a animated opening for us, but I haven't been too lazy lately. Welcome to the Good Movies Podcast. We're coming at you late this evening and little audio issues. Get them straightened out. We've got some dogs barking.
Yeah.
So, how's everybody doing this week? All right, hang on a second. We got Katie trying to get back in. Let's see if she can you hear us?
Hello?
Yep.
Hey.
I
Yep.
can't
Yeah,
hear
no
anything.
echo.
You can't hear us? We can hear you this time.
Hold on.
Okay. Well, as usual, we're disorganized. I don't know where we're going to get started this evening. How's everybody been doing this week? And what's
Dude.
people been watching and everything? And we'll get
Pretty
started
good.
like that a little bit.
Yeah. Would you like me to go first?
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Whoever wants to go first, yes. Ladies
Yeah, we
first.
can hear you, Katie.
Okay, yeah.
Yep.
I guess it's just
Yeah.
not gonna work out this week, guys.
Oh, okay. Her kitty is so cute. I said last time when she was on, I was like, I love cats. So I'm just like, oh, look, all the
Yeah.
kitties.
Saw Priscilla. Oh, okay.
Hey,
It
Abby.
is that the. I haven't got to see that yet. I did want to kind of see that movie. It looked good.
Mm-hmm.
Priscilla
Yeah, I guess,
Presley movie.
to answer your question, if you want me to start, I can just say like I've been good. I feel like I've been over the Halloween hangover that I always get every year. It's such a shock to me because October is, a month-long celebration for Halloween. And then you wake up the next day and bam, it's November and Thanksgiving is basically 2 weeks away. So it's like just trying to kind of wrap my head around it. So, but yeah, doing pretty good. Watches recently. I shared that I watched Suspiria 2018. I think it's my third or fourth rewatch. I feel like that movie makes more sense every time you rewatch it. There are things, those movies where you watch it again and it's like, oh, and you notice something and you just get more and more each time you rewatch it.
Yeah.
So that's definitely one of my favorites from this week. What else? I've been kind of in a gaming mood a bit. I've been replaying Resident Evil Biohazard. So that's been taking up a lot of my time as well. So, but yeah, just
Sounds
a lot
like
of
fun.
watches as well.
Well, I've been watching a lot of film noir stuff like that.
Mm.
That's about it. I try to catch the Milli Vanilli doc, but I'll get it eventually. Get around
That's
to
all
it.
right.
Yeah, I'm still trying to catch up on some of those. That's about it. It's just been a lot of just normal busy stuff going on this week. So,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I've been watching for my I don't know if I'm going to do it on my YouTube channel, but for my website, I'm doing a theme this month of non-linear November, where I'm doing movies that are in like a non-linear timeline or do a lot of flashbacks or flash forwards or whatever. So far I've watched Adrift with Shailene Woodley.
I love that movie so much.
Yeah, that was
That's
really,
awesome.
really good.
I love that
Yeah.
you brought that up.
And then yesterday I watched The Nines with Ryan Reynolds and Hope Davis, which was much less exciting than Adrift.
it was very odd.
Yeah, it's very metaphysical, and it's hard to review a movie like that without giving everything away. So I just finished my review of it, and it was kind of vague, but the performances are great. It's just the plot is weird. And then I've been gaming as well. I'm playing Spider-Man 2 on my PS5.
Nice.
And yeah, that's what I've been up to.
I watched Sleepy Hollow,
Mm.
the Milli Vanilli, and I told John I've been like in this like kick with sitcoms lately. I've seen them all like many times, but it's like I'm doing
The Office, Big Bang Theory, Spin City, uh, Parks and Rec. That's my favorite. So I've been just like I haven't been able to like to sit like to watch a full movie. I just started. I watched Quartermass 1 and 2 today, and like Mike said, I watched my friend Neil's movie channel. I sent you guys all the link.
Mhm.
And did like all the film noirs for Noir November, and it was pretty interesting. All of the ones that he basically brought up are on YouTube, so you guys can catch.
Oh, that's
So
cool.
I wrote them all down. So and they're all like about hour and 15 minutes, hour and 8 minutes, so they're not like overstaying their welcome.
Mhm.
So yeah,
That's
that's basically what I've been catching up on, really.
Mhm.
I love that you brought up Big Bang Theory. That's my ultimate like comfort show. When I just want
I-
like background noise. I've seen the show a million times, so it's just like nice to have it in the background.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I just love it. It's the same with like Parks and Rec for me. I
Right.
can just sit and watch them. And the other show I started watching, the new Frasier is absolutely horrible.
Oh no.
Really?
Yeah, I'm a huge fan. I have the set. I've watched that like I just watched Ham Radio again, where Frasier does the old radio show from like the 40s in the studio.
I
I
love the
watched that.
OG.
That's like my favorite episode of Frasier's. So it's like I just kept on. Well, I just tried it. I watched the first 3 episodes and I just couldn't get into the characters. I was missing the originals so much, you know.
I'm kind of the
Mhm.
way with Justified. Like they just revamped it on what, like HBO Max or Max, whatever they call it now.
Mhm.
Loved the original series, and then they tried to like reboot it. I love Timothy Oliphant, and he did good in like the reboot, but it just didn't have the same like grit and like
Mhm.
storytelling. You know, like I feel
Yeah,
not to go on a tangent because I always go on a tangent when it comes to this topic, but I get really frustrated where it's like, if you have the money, why not make like a new show and like do your own Frasier, do your own Justified, like
Mhm.
Mhm.
they don't have
start
any
it up
ideas.
because yeah, exactly. Where they just want to like piggyback off of something that's already been amazing. Why not just do your own thing that's amazing? But
Yeah.
it's getting really exhausting where they're just kind of like, oh, rebooting this, rebooting that. It's like make your own
It's like
damn thing.
you were young when this was, but it was like you just think of like all the '90s sitcoms that were out there.
Yeah,
Another one that I've been watching is Third Rock from the Sun. You couldn't put that on TV today.
No.
All,
No.
all the
Oh,
sexual innuendo and all
the amount of
that, you
things,
Mhm.
know.
the amount of things that we could not put on TV today, like in the
Mhm.
90s, 2000s, like all of the raunchy comedies that came out, like making
Yeah,
fun of
it's.
people left
I
and
mean,
right.
just think in the '90s alone, you had The Nanny, which is basically like a I Love Lucy ripoff kind of show. You know,
Mhm.
she's Lucy and he's Ricky.
Yep.
You know, Frasier, Dharma and Greg. Was
Friends.
another one of my friends. Yeah, with
Seinfeld.
Matt Perry. Seinfeld. I mean, just go like Home Improvement. I mean, you could go to like, say Thursday night. Okay, you knew NBC was going to be on the whole night. You knew you had
Yep.
Frasier. You know you had Cheers. I mean, Cheers. There's a prime example.
Yeah.
Stuff that
Mhm.
you couldn't even dare put on TV today.
Mhm.
You know.
Yeah.
I think Hollywood's scared to like take a chance on something new, so they stick with what's safe and what's branded and what everybody's familiar with, even if it's 20 years old. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
you don't really see any new innovative shows anymore. Like
And then they're
fresh.
shocked when nobody goes or nobody
Right?
wants to sit through the same thing over and over again.
We
Yeah.
talked
Where is
in
everybody?
we talked in the group chat about Disney a bit, and I feel like they're suffering for the same issue where it's like
Yep.
instead of making original animated movies, you know, I'm just thinking about modern ones like Frozen, Moana, like Coco, like they were original movies that did well, but
Mhm.
then they're just obsessed with doing these recreations in real life, and
Mhm.
I don't believe anyone's asking for them anymore. I feel like after
Mhm.
Beauty and the Beast, we were kind of like, we as a society were like, okay, you can go back to like doing original things, but then they kept giving us like Mulan, like, and then this whole Snow White fiasco. I feel like they
Oh
just need
yeah.
to go back to their roots and like
Yeah.
do Disney Pixar as it was intended to be. Because I grew up with Disney. I was very much a Disney kid. So it makes me sad to absolutely love all of these movies that came out back when I grew up, only to see it do what it's doing now. I'm like, what are you guys doing? Like, come
Mhm.
on
Yeah.
now. Like, I know you've got more ideas than just
Yeah.
basically doing the exact same movie, but live, and then also feminizing it. Like,
Yeah, it's like show your kids the originals. Show them the class. Well, what's wrong with showing them the original? You know,
thank
something
you.
something that's not
Yeah.
even that old, really. You know.
Exactly.
Because Disney doesn't make any more money that way. If you show them the ones you've got in your library, they have to make a new
Well,
one
God.
Yeah.
that you'll
but
shell out the money for.
yeah, but they don't mind rehashing it, re-releasing
Oh,
it
no.
50 times though. Anyways,
No,
but,
no, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not making any
exactly.
money anyway, so I don't know what
Right.
yeah.
losing money.
Well, see, when I
Yeah.
was a kid, I was introduced to Princess Bride, and I'm a '90s kid, so I was introduced to it because it came before I was born.
Mhm.
And I absolutely love that movie. That is like a core memory. Like I'll never forget watching Princess Bride for the first time. I love that movie so much, and so like I don't have any kids, but if I did, like I would absolutely introduce them to the originals instead of
Mhm.
the live action, because it just makes sense. And
Mhm.
you hear like the studios being like, oh, we're redoing it for a modern audience. And I'm like, the modern audience should go back to the 80s and watch the original, because that bugs me. Why are we modernizing it? Like, unless it's,
Mhm.
I mean, I know, like
Yeah, it doesn't make
something
sense.
that, yeah, like unless
It's not that outdated. You know, it's
Mm-mm.
not like it's so outdated that.
well, I mean, even the George A. Romero's like Dawn of the Dead, the original, like that
Mhm.
still is completely accessible. Like that has, character depth and like scary moments, and you can relate to these characters. Like if
Mhm.
you can do that, then I don't really see why we need to remake things unless it does its own thing. Kind of like, I just said Dawn of the Dead, so like the Dawn of the Dead remake is its own thing. Like it's still in a mall, but it's also its own thing. Like I can appreciate when a remake makes it like its own thing. So you
Mhm.
can appreciate both. But
You said two important things there, Lauren. Adapt and what was the other one? Completely. It just like wait. I was like so transfixed with the
two
adapt
things. One,
because
Aaron,
Well, I heard mall, so there's not too many
Yeah.
malls anymore. So
no,
it's
there's
like
no.
Yeah.
it's like zombies.
no.
I got an idea. They attack a strip mall, and they
Yeah.
have
They
to go
attack
from
Walmart.
yeah,
Mall was
or
the
Walmart,
place to be when I was a
yeah,
teenager. That's what you
Yep.
just roam. And now they're
or
basically dead now. So sad.
yeah, or some people get
Yeah.
trapped in an abandoned Best Buy store that closed down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or Tesco or something.
Yeah,
Yeah, and the mall makes no sense why they went away, because except for unless they had to charge outlandish prices for rent for the business,
Mhm.
it's the only thing I can figure it out. And they don't, really allow for a lot of expansion like
Mhm.
these super stores. Everybody wants, all these places want to build these super mega stores now.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And I don't know if that's part of the problem, but it's kind of
Well,
aggravating because we have a mall in our town that's basically defunct. It's got some stuff in it still because they attempted to keep it alive, but everything kind of moved out of it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah, I
Yeah,
still
that's
have
like
a mall I still have them all in like the nearby area about 30 minutes away. But at the same time, I feel like I personally think that Amazon is a bit of the culprit. Everyone wants it like right now, and they don't
Yeah.
want to leave their house. Whereas the
Yep.
mall requires you to drive, park, go into an establishment that has multiple like businesses and stuff. And
mhm.
I don't know. I think 2020 and all of that weirded people out a bit when it comes to like interacting with people. So
Mhm.
it's so much
Shopping used
easier
to be
just
more of
like
a social thing.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now it's, you sit in your easy chair and, oh, I need toothpaste. click,
Exactly.
and then it shows up at your door the next day.
Exactly.
So
I mean, I
Yeah.
can't speak for Sean because we're about the same age. I mean, I remember the '80s. We didn't have air conditioning in our house,
mhm.
so it was like we went to the mall. Mom packed a lunch, and we sat around the fountain where it was cool in the mall, and spent the whole day in there just like walking around. We didn't buy a damn thing because we didn't have the money for it, but it just kept us cool to sit around like the fountain, and you just like prayed,
Mhm.
going, "Man, I wish that Scotto's pizza would, come and, instead of eating a bologna sandwich near the fountain,
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
that's
the
that's
food
what
there
we
too.
did the whole day. We walked around the mall, until it closed, and then went home and slept in sweat.
Yeah, that's what I did too. I had friends, or even I think when I got a little bit older, just by myself, like just walking around, just kind of look around, like candle shop, like clothing shop, food court, like you kind of just bounced all over the place. Like I do
Mhm.
have nostalgic, like fond memories of the mall. That it is kind of sad that they're kind of dying off. Like I remember I watched a documentary where didn't they start them in like early 80s? Like just thinking that this is gonna boom, and it did, and then it died. It's like blockbusters a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, we never
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
We never packed a lunch
Just
to go
getting
to the
burned.
mall, Kenny, but we would go, and I say we, it was just, me. I'm an only kid, so I would just go with my mom, and she would go do her thing. If she had to, go to Penny's and buy work clothes or whatever, and then I'd go to the record store and the arcade and bookstore, and that's what I look forward to. But
I saw a comment, Abby was talking about how you like flipped a coin into the fountain,
yeah,
Yeah.
which I did that every
Mhm.
time too. So I just had
Yeah.
to
hmm
point that out. Love that.
Mhm.
yep,
Yeah, that was always cool when you were little. The idea of putting a penny in there is just
It was like
Yeah.
blowing out the candles on your birthday cake. It was
Yep.
yeah.
respect.
when
You
you're
had to pick.
well,
very-
when you were little,
yeah.
Some places had that, like, I don't know if you've seen them. I'm sure they had them where you are, but those yellow things where you put the coin in like a track, and it would go around and around, and
Yeah.
it would go
Oh, yeah.
down into the hole in the middle. Those were always fascinating to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Suncoast Video too.
I mean, once the physical media stores kind of dried up, it kind of and then a lot of the good arcades would close down from the mall. It kind of kept me like, I don't really need to go to the mall today unless I need
Yeah.
some shoes or something. But you don't buy shoes every day or every week, so
Yeah.
So it kind of and so it kind of worked up to the used stores, secondhand stores that get physical media. And then eventually it was just eBay. It's like, well, you can just go straight to it from your phone, and you don't even have to go out and search anymore. So, I mean, I guess innovation has kind of dried stuff up a little bit, but that's what got me to the mall back then.
Yeah.
Or
I
hang out with friends after school, high school and stuff. But that's about it.
Yeah.
mean, that again, like that was the cool place to go. Like you're a kid. Like, where are you supposed to go? Like, especially in the 90s, 2000s. Like, when you go to the mall, you just walk around and you're just like with friends, kind of looking at stuff. And then, as I said earlier, like Amazon Prime, like just websites able to send things to you. It's so much easier just to order it than like you have to put clothes on, you have to probably shower, you got to put keys in the ignition, you got to leave your house,
Yeah.
you got to park, and then you got to go into an establishment, and you got to do it all the way back. So like, I am at fault for doing that at times, but I also really miss like doing like the in-store experience. I also remember some businesses that were in malls and then they left to be like their own. Like, I remember Old Navy was a part of my mall, and then they like left to be their own like building establishment. So it was like, anyway, I just think it's weird to like be aware of like the different layers and elevations of
Walmart was actually attached to the mall over here It was the
Really?
weirdest thing ever. Yeah, it was the original Walmart in this town was attached, and then they literally moved out and moved right next to the mall, and then the mall slowly died for the next decade and a half.
Wow. I think
Yeah,
the
it
only
did.
weird attachment that I've ever seen is like a gas station and a Subway, which, you know, it doesn't sound very odd, but for me, it was just like sandwich next to gas. That's weird. Like,
Mhm.
Katie
Yeah,
brought up
Mr. Dan.
Spencer's. That
Yeah.
was awesome. Spencer's.
Yeah.
Yeah, Spencer's. Yeah.
Spencer's. Oh my God. Yes.
Yeah,
Lava
Lexington
lamps
still
and
has one
posters.
big mall.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah, Lexington still has the Fayette Mall. I think Louisville still has a couple malls too, don't it? Mike?
Yeah. There's a Jefferson
What's-
Mall. There's about
what's-
3 good malls.
What's
there.
the real big one? The real big one, the Double Decker Mall down there. Yeah.
I see Katie's talking
I've
about
been
Hot
to it.
Topic and Spencer's.
Yeah.
That was my like go-tos as well. I love Hot Topic. I still do, but
Yeah.
that was like one of my favorite places to go. I loved it
I'm not-
because I still dressed like kind of preppy, but like I belonged because I loved all of the things that they like sold. So I would walk in, I'd get some side eyes, and then I would be like sifting through all of the things. Like, okay, she's one of us. That's cool. Like, but yeah, Spencer's was a lot of fun too because at the front of it, it was like, you know, funny stuff, and then towards the back, it was like some other things.
Drug
I like
paraphernalia.
variety.
dildos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Mr. Dan mentioned Suncoast. That was really, for me, that was one of the first places to buy VHSs
Mhm.
Mhm.
because I didn't really collect VHSs because, like, in my hometown, none of the stores really sold them. Like the rental stores, they didn't really. I don't really remember them selling like used copies and things like that
Mm-mm.
very much. So I didn't have really an outlet for it. And then Suncoast came to Lexington, and and that was the first place. And also we had a Best Buy that came in at a similar time, and of course they sold them. So I bought a few there towards the end, right leading up to DVDs. So I didn't really
Mhm.
collect. That's when I kind of really got into movies big, kind of the mid 90s. By the time I got my license and started, so I'd go to the movies every weekend. So that's when I really got into movies, and DVDs is what pushed my collecting urge. For some
Yeah.
reason, it's like, man, this feels like something I want to buy. I didn't really think that. I mean, a lot of people collected VHS, but I don't think I didn't feel like they pushed VHS into the collector's market quite like
Mm-mm.
DVDs were. To me, it doesn't
Or
seem like it.
or
Maybe I
Laserdisc.
wasn't at the Laserdisc. Nobody
Yeah.
could afford it.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think like what I remember just in my little neck of the woods is VHS was sort of a mainstream thing. So it was never geared towards collectors, but once they would start putting the big name movies on, it would be like, well, if you wanted the big blockbuster movie and you wanted to own it for your house, you would get it. So you'd go out and buy Independence Day or Top Gun, but you would only own like 5 movies,
Mhm.
and it was just worth owning. You weren't buying movies just to buy them or to collect them.
yeah, it was I mean, I was a kid, but like we were like my family was a very big VHS like collector. And I mentioned earlier that I was kind of a Disney kid, so we owned a lot of like the classic Disney movies.
Mhm.
And I always like to joke with my friends that like I'm an old lady trapped in a young woman's body because when the world went from VHS to like DVD, I was like, "What? You just want me to buy this a second time? Like I have my movies. Like why are you trying like I'm that whole like why are things changing? What's this? Like I have my VHS. Why are we adapting to like new things?" Like
Yeah.
I remember like I was like a kid. I got so annoyed. I'm like, I have to buy this like a second time. This is Balderdash. Like, I hated that. So I
Yeah.
got so annoyed. And then it went from DVD to Blu-ray. I'm like, oh my God. Like, I absolutely lost it. But yeah, it was really funny because I had this huge collection and then we like couldn't buy every single movie on Blu-ray. And then it became difficult to find VHS tapes and players and stuff. And I was just like, oh.
Yeah.
Lauren, you thought that was tough. Me and Sean are old enough. We had 8-track tapes.
Oh yeah.
growing
Oh,
up
yeah.
in the 70s. We had 8 tracks, and then in the 80s, this new cool form came out, cassettes. So then
Oh
you're
my
buying
God.
like all your cassettes, and then it's like 86 hits, and it's like, oh, we got this new thing called CDs. So it's
Yep.
like I had to buy like every Billy
Oh.
Joel, everything over again. I can't
Ah.
tell you, like, all of the ones that I had, like, and even like because we belonged to Columbia House back in the 70s, and it was like 8 tracks. So my mom had every Carpenters one, Engelbert Humperdinck she had, Neil Diamond, So it was like when you're getting into that, it's like, oh yeah, oh cassettes, oh Hall and Oates, oh yeah, Billy Ocean, stuff like that. And then this new thing comes up in CDs, and you think you got to rebuy everything again. So it's just like it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, I can respect that because again, like the old lady within me was like, I collected CDs. Like I loved CDs, I loved soundtracks. And then all of a sudden people were like, hey, there's this thing like an iPhone where it's music, but you can also like call people and it was like, no, it needs to be separate because that's lunacy. Like I legit did not trust iPhones early on when they came out. It was like, oh, it's like all connect. I'm like, no, I don't trust you. I'm gonna have my CDs. I'm gonna have my phone, and that's how it works.
Yep.
It took me forever. I had a flip phone when people had iPhones. So
Yeah, to Kenny's point about the 8 tracks, we would buy music on a format dependent on where we were going to listen to it. So if we
Mm.
wanted to listen to it in the car, we would buy it on 8 track. If we really liked it, we'd buy it on 8 track and vinyl so we could listen to it in the car and at home.
Mm.
And that was in the 70s. And then in the 80s, you could get a cassette player and you could actually listen to it at home and in the car. It was pretty amazing.
Or in your Walkman.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because you got those like cassette player adapters to put in your car or in your boombox and stuff like that. So you could,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yep.
it was insane. I can't tell you how much. It seems like you wait. You think about it now. It's like 2023. And it's like, damn, I wasted all that money. And it's just like because like when I moved, I sold all my cassettes. I mean, not all my cassettes, all my CDs. And I'm not
Mhm.
kidding you guys. I had about like 3,000 of them. And I sold them because I wasn't going to move them across the country.
I traded
You
mine
know?
in for like pennies on the dollar at half price.
Yeah,
books,
that's
you know?
basically what I got too.
Yeah.
So I'm terrible. I did
Yeah.
that same thing like in a college. I had my own like DVD, Blu-ray like collection. I was like, oh, I'll probably never watch these movies. So I sold them off. And then I moved into a new apartment. I'm like, I missed that movie. I bought it another time.
Yeah,
It's so annoying when that happens.
Yeah, I
But
had a
it's
bunch of cassettes. Sorry, Kenny.
wow, you do? No, you have
Well,
cassettes.
no, I
Wow.
did. No, I did.
Oh, okay.
I had a ton of cassettes, and when I was working trying to get like my first car going, I sold off all these cassettes, and I think I sold my like dirt bike, like my Predator BMX bike, and I put all this money together, and I ended up with my first car. I was also working and stuff, but
Nice.
it all went to the greater good, I guess. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like when I sold like part of it, like, not to sound super cheap, but like part of it was to help with rent because I was just like a poor college kid. So it was like,
Mhm.
well, there's some extra money. Like I've watched it, I enjoyed it. I probably don't need to see it again, but now I'm so nostalgic for older movies. So it's like I own 3
Mhm.
copies of that movie now, like kind of thing.
yeah.
I own
You
the
know what?
Blu-ray,
Somebody
I own
else
the
is
Steelbook.
enjoying it. Somebody else is enjoying it. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had my joy. Let them get it. Out.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, I just actually went to Vintage Stock a couple weeks ago, and it talked about being like a Disney kid when I was little. There were a ton of like Disney like VHSs with like the white on them.
clamshell.
Yeah, exactly. So I freaked out. I was like, oh my God. So I got so excited. And I bought a bunch of like nostalgia movies and they were all like 99 cents. So it was the perfect time to get those. But now like I'm just like I own a VHS TV that, obviously plays VHS. And so I'm just really excited to get to watch those because it's like all nostalgia. There's I'm looking at them over here. It's like Mulan, Aladdin, Bugs Life, Peter Pan, Little Mermaid, Alice in Wonderland. It's just I also grabbed Man in the Iron Mask with Leonardo DiCaprio. That was
Oh, that's a
another
good
one
one.
I really loved. So,
Yep.
but yeah, so the clamshell, I was really excited about that one. There's like
Sort of is the Black Diamond ones really worth something? You know, it's on the clamshells, the ones with the black diamond, Walt Disney. Because there's rumors that those were worth money and then they weren't worth money or something.
If they were, I just gave I gave a load of money to Salvation Army because I had them, and they were all wrapped up too, Mike. They weren't even
Oh.
open.
Oh yeah,
Ooh.
yeah.
Do you
I heard different
see
stuff.
this? Like, can you see
Yeah,
that?
yeah, that would be a Black Diamond one.
Yeah, I think that's the only one I snagged that has a black diamond, but
Yeah. Well, they say they were worth lots of money, and I think it was just an internet rumor that circulated, but they may be, but I don't know too much about it.
that was 99 cents. So I
Okay.
feel like Disney does that a lot though. Do you guys remember when it was the whole like, oh, grab it before it goes back in the Disney vault?
Yeah,
Like,
the
Oh, yeah.
Disney
Yeah.
vaults.
that pissed me
Oh,
off
yeah.
so much because I was just like, as a kid, I was like, oh my God, we gotta go. Now as an adult looking back, and I'm like, you assholes. Like, why are you doing that? That's such like a grab it. There's only 5 more left. Like,
hmm
so annoying.
Yeah. And then they showed the big vault closing and stuff. And it was
Yeah.
like,
Yes.
"Ah!"
Yeah.
with
That's
Tinkerbell next to it, and
Yes.
stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Well, as a kid and a teen, I was just like, because I didn't understand marketing. So I was just like, oh my God. Oh my God.
It's like, this could be real.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh my God, it's closing. Hurry.
Oh, the Marvels.
Well, it looks like it's bumped up to 60%, but that's hard to believe because it's only. Sorry, I'm switching gears here a little bit.
That's cool.
I think it was 54% when people talked about it. I don't know if it was yesterday or today. Now it's 60%, but there's no audience score. They're going to hide
Yeah.
that audience score as long as they can.
Mhm.
Well, it premieres tonight to audiences,
Yeah.
I think. So
Yeah.
we'll hit the audience score by tomorrow morning, I'm sure.
I
But,
literally have no interest in watching that movie.
Neither do I.
I'm like 90% burnout on Marvel right now.
Yeah.
I'm 110%.
Yeah.
I love Marvel and DC. I feel like DC's like being better than Marvel, but I'm exhausted by Marvel. I feel like they keep putting things out that just are very, as the kids say, mid. Like,
Yeah.
it's just I actually watched are you guys familiar with Jeremy Johns here on YouTube by chance?
Mm-mm.
No.
Name seems
He's
familiar.
he's a movie reviewer. He's been on here for like maybe 10 to 12 years. Watch him a lot. He just recently reviewed that movie, and he basically said, like, I recommend that Marvel take a quick break, like make people
Yeah.
miss you and then come back with a bang. Because I feel like they keep pumping these things out, and it's just they're not good. Like, it's, people aren't super excited about it because you're weighing us down with Marvel. I feel like after
Yeah.
Endgame, that was when they needed their break, and then they
Yep.
came back hard. Now
Yep.
they're just keeping like with Disney Plus and like what She-Hulk. Like, I know that some people like it, but I haven't watched it. I've watched people watch it, and it looks like a show. it just I just, it's a shame because I remember really loving like early on Marvel movies, and like Iron Man, like the first Iron Man, like, that was revolutionary.
Mhm.
I feel like
They
they
used to
keep
be
trying to-
events. Now
exactly,
they're not events anymore. That,
exactly. I feel like they're
Well,
trying
you know,
to recapture that, and
yeah,
it's just not
there'd
working.
be 2 a year. You'd get Iron Man and the Hulk in 2008, and whatever came out in 2009. You'd get 2 a year. You'd look forward to them. They'd advance the story a little bit, and then you'd wait till next year, and you got 2 more, and then they built a really good momentum. And then they wrap that up with Endgame, and then, like you said, they should have taken a break, but now they're like, oh, we've got to move into phase 4, and we've got to continue the storyline and build up to, the
Well,
whatever
if it
the
was
next
good,
Avengers
it wouldn't
movie.
matter, but it's not good. That's a problem.
Well, the thing is, they've filled in all the gaps between the movies with Disney Plus shows, and then they tie those into the movies. So you feel like you're missing out if you miss one. And then a movie comes out and you're like, well, shit, I didn't watch the series
I have
from
7 movies
3
of
months
homework
ago.
before I see that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it feels like a
Well-
homework assignment. Exactly. And it's not
Mhm.
like you're not going to the movies to enjoy the story, or, you're going to get caught up, and they have to check these boxes to make sure they advance the story at least a little bit. But it feels like a chore. And as soon as it feels like a chore, I don't want to go anymore. And I dragged myself to go see
Mhm.
the last Black Panther movie, and I haven't been back, and I'm probably not going back until there's a reason. And to see, this movie, which I mentioned it a couple of weeks ago, but I've had that my opinion sort of not approved, but I can't think of the word I'm looking for, but they changed the advertising for this movie. The first trailer I saw this made it look like a comedy where if one of the Marvels uses her powers, the other ones get transported somewhere else. And it's like some zany thing where they keep flopping all over the place. That looked awful. And then the next time I saw it, every trailer after that was tying this movie to the Avengers. Oh, Captain Marvel was in the Avengers, so you should see Captain Marvel in the Marvels. They don't even talk about the other two characters. They're trying to tie this into like another Avengers movie, like it's somehow as big as that. And it's desperation. It smells of desperation.
Yeah,
Well-
I did hear that there was a lot of like reshootings and like a bunch of like scrambling arounds. So it does sound like Disney, Marvel, whatever, is concerned. And I think that's part of what I was getting at with like the recreations, like the
Mhm.
live action of Disney and stuff like that. I feel like they are just so eager to like try to pump stuff out, but then they're also not listening to their audience. So it's like they keep making content, and I would love that. Keep making content, but the type of content that you're creating, people are not responding to. So it's like that they get surprised whenever they make this big budget movie. And it's like, well, people didn't ask for that. Also, like the commentary isn't there. And they're just like,
Right.
oh no, we're not gonna break even. And like, well, whose fault is that though? Like, it's not the
Right.
audience's. Like, oh, you're misogynistic because you're not gonna go see the Marvels because a bunch of women are starring. What? That's
That's
ridiculous.
I don't care. I don't care who's wearing the spandex. If I'm not interested, I'm not interested.
Isn't
And
that
one-
the truth, though? Like, I mean,
another
Captain
point-
America wore spandex. Like, everyone
Yeah.
saw that. Like,
But another point too, to the fact with the TV series back in the original Marvel days, the pre-Endgame days, they had the Netflix Marvel series, and they tied into the MCU in the most like basic ways, where you knew they took place in the same universe, and they would make a mention of Spider-Man or the events in New York or whatever, but they weren't wrapped up in it. As soon as it went to Disney Plus, then everything had to be integral to the MCU, and they had to build the plots around that. And that's where it started to feel like a chore. And I think that was the downfall. That and the fact that Endgame tied everything up with a nice little pretty bow. And I think everybody kind of walked away and said, well, we're done.
Nope, they got woke and went broke. That's what it did.
yeah.
Well,
Mhm.
yeah,
It
that might
is.
keep some people out of the theater, but I think the majority of
Yep.
people are just not going because they don't care anymore. It doesn't matter
Yep.
what color somebody is or what sexuality somebody is or what they stand for off screen or on screen. If the stories suck and the plots aren't engaging and nobody gives a shit, it doesn't matter what they're
Mhm.
throwing up on screen.
Yeah, it's all about the story.
Yeah.
Stories suck anymore. So
Yeah.
Well, look at this villain. Is she intimidating? Does that look intimidating?
No.
I don't even know who that is.
And
She's not even shown in the
it's
trailer.
just It's Captain.
Caveman.
It's in Captain Marvel 2's. You know
I would watch that, Kenny.
I would too.
Mhm.
what's that?
Captain
Caveman, the movie.
Oh yeah,
Okay, and I just yeah.
yeah. But they gender swap. It'd be a girl. It'd be whatever.
Yeah.
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 Unfortunately, you can't be dumb enough to understand what's going on right now.
Yeah.
So
Captain Cave Creature.
I guess I'll
Yeah,
say a
Captain
couple
Cave
of points,
person.
if I may.
Please.
Yeah. So you were talking about like the kind of like original. Like I originally got into like superheroes and like comic books and stuff like that from Spider-Man. Tobey Maguire's
Mhm.
Spider-Man got me into it all. And so that got me into like comic books and like watching like, like superhero, like Marvel, DC movies. Like it's what got me into it. But from there, like I agree when it became like it had to be all tied to something else. Like, it got, like I said earlier, like a homework project. It got exhausting.
Yep.
When it was just Iron Man and we're learning about Iron Man and his
Yep.
origin and like how he got the suit and super smart and like all this stuff. Like it, like we said earlier, it was like an event.
Mhm.
So I really loved that era where we were just learning about a superhero. It's Spider-Man. You're telling me a story about Spider-Man, and it's great. But as it started developing, and I just feel like that I'll use a Doctor Who reference. It got too timey-wimey for me. It was too much. Like
Yep.
it was just way too much. And like I mean, I read comic books. Like I love the movies, but I just got exhausted with it all. And
Yeah.
I feel even I avoided Endgame because it was almost too much. Where it's just like
Mhm.
we lost so many characters, and it honestly it broke my heart. And it's like, oh, there's another movie. I'm like, no, you've hurt me. Like I don't want to talk to you. Like, so it took me a while to actually get to that one. But then yeah, it's a beautiful movie and it ties it up perfectly. And like I said earlier, I feel like that was the perfect time to like wrap it up, like maybe take a year or two to just like let us chill and then come back with a really great movie. So yeah, I definitely agree that the just
yeah,
one
but if they just come back with a bunch of crap like they're doing now, it's not going to make any difference.
Right.
that is
Well, you
true.
think
Yeah.
about it.
If they would-
These movies have been
they
coming out
went
for
away
15
from
years.
they went away from good characters. They killed off all the original Avengers for the most part, or retired them, or did whatever the hell they done with them, where they went to, and they replaced them with a bunch of people nobody gives a shit about. They're a bunch of gender swap versions of the characters.
Yeah.
I don't care
That
about
was
the
my
race
next
swap.
point.
Sometimes the race swaps works. I don't care. I don't care either. But the fact is they're doing it.
Yeah.
And I don't be an asshole about what I'm saying, but it's what's happening. It's being done for a reason.
No, that
Not only
was
that,
one of my
but-
next points actually,
Yeah.
is that I'm exhausted by them trying to virtue signal or like essentially pander. And we were just talking about the
Yeah.
Marvels. I as a woman, I feel like aggressively pandered to by that movie where it's like, look at all these women in this movie. And I'm like, I don't fucking care. Are they good characters? Like
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
like it doesn't matter like if they have the same genitalia as I do. Are they good characters?
Right.
Do they perform well? Like I'm sorry, but I don't think Brie Larson is a good actress, at least not as like Captain Marvel. And I just feel like she's
Yeah,
wooden.
she don't.
That like the first movie that she was in, I was just like, what am I watching? Like I don't feel represented. I feel like you've staled the female gender with your performance. So
Yeah,
Well,
she was
Lauren,
definitely
what
miscast.
what you said about Brie Larson,
Mhm.
what was Disney kind of pushing instead of Brie Larson? The damn cat. They knew they were. Am I wrong? I mean,
Yeah.
everything you seen was the cat.
Yeah.
Oh, look at the cat. They were I mean, so they knew she was kind of miscast.
In the trailer, yeah,
they-
exactly. When they kept her,
and they just basically kept on pushing the cat. Oh, look at this cute cat, and it's just like,
Yeah.
I
and
know
what
this.
you
I know this is DC, but like Ezra Miller too. Where like I just feel like they have a controversy or like a bad actor or actress, and they were just like, oh, but maybe one other. Are you guys okay with that? And it's like audience is like, no, we have been very clear that we do not like it. They just keep doing it, so it's exhausting. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure she's been in other movies and she probably is better, whatever. But I feel like she just gave a very wooden performance. I feel like Samuel L. Jackson is only there to like make her terrible performance a little bit better. So, um,
And like last year I seen Doctor Strange too. And my niece is like, Uncle Kenny, you can't watch this without watching WandaVision. I'm
Right.
like, what the hell is WandaVision?
Don't
I
tell
I
me
didn't
that.
know I didn't know what that was, you know?
Right.
So it's like I went
but
and I enjoyed it for what it was. I mean, it visually looked beautiful. You know, the movie with the blocks moving and the buildings moving and stuff like that. But it had no damn plot unless you watched 3 other series before that.
Right.
You know?
and it also
Mhm.
requires a Disney Plus subscription, mind you. If you
Right.
haven't had that, and it's like, oh, you need to watch these 3 other series on Disney Plus, and it's only available there. So give me money so that you can watch all of that, and then go give me money to go see a movie in
Yeah.
theaters. It just feels draining financially and mentally.
Right.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
I
and
literally had to sit there and like she was telling me, "Oh, well, this is Glenda the Good Witch, and she's in WandaVision, and she, you know," and I'm like, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm here to watch a superhero movie for 2 hours. You know,
right.
I don't need a damn backstory on like
You
4
got a
other series that
dictionary
I'm never going to watch.
backstory.
You
Yep.
know?
Yeah.
Yep. You hit the nail on the head. It's a chore. You didn't do your homework, Kenny. So
Yeah, and when you go into
you
a
fail.
movie and you it's homework for you, it's no longer fun.
Exactly. And again, that's why I feel like I've been like disinterested in Marvel lately. In addition, I forget the name of the newest Thor movie, but it had
Love and Thunder.
it was wasn't it just like bogged down with like unnecessary humor? It's like they couldn't take themselves seriously for a second. It was just like all humor, all like just like
I said to the guys, I kept on when I watched it with my niece again, and I went, "Is that Russell Crowe?" He went on the Kenny diet, you know. It was like, holy hell, that's Gladiator, and he's like, you know, eat a salad, Russ. You know, it's like, holy cow, did he get big? You know, and it just that kind of took away from me with the movie too. But you know, the sitcom humor with the Lady Thor and Thor that
yeah.
just, you know,
I feel like
I
that's
didn't care for it.
yeah, I feel like that's part of the problem with Marvel as well. Like I think that's one of my points I was going to bring up, where it's just like they understood early on. It's like okay, like the like quippy like humor like with action works. So they like overboard all of these newer movies where it's just like oh quippy, and it's just like I'm exhausted by that as well. I had to do homework. I came here, and then you're just like throwing all of these jokes at me where it's to the point where it's like okay, like. Can we take something serious at one moment, please? Like
It was so obvious in that movie too, because the villain, what was his name? The God Killer guy that Christian Bale played, was so dark and so deep and so cool that could have been a really interesting movie if he was given a, you know, some gravitas through the whole thing. But
I
you
agree.
have him, you know, worried about his daughter and you know he lost his family and all that against you know wacko Thor, and you know he's fresh from his adventures with the Guardians of the Galaxy and now he's a surfer dude, and you know it was just so unbalanced and goofy.
Yeah.
Plus, wasn't that the movie where like wasn't he like kind of like captive and they like stripped his clothes and it was made to be like a joke? Wasn't that like what bothers me is like if we switch the genders, would that be super funny? Like that's what upsets me the most.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's just stupid. That's what is it? Slapstick, like bottom tier humor, in my opinion, where it could be funny, but it's also like, could we like not have thought of like anything else to do with that scene? Why did we have to like, oh, Thor's naked, ha ha ha, like that's hilarious.
exactly.
Yeah.
I just think that's just like we have done something, anything else with that. Like, definitely could.
One of the things I was trying to say before is that the original Iron Man came out 15 years ago. So if you think about that,
God.
yeah, exactly. 15
so
years
long.
ago, nobody was the same person 15 years ago. And so many things have changed. So you've got Robert Downey Jr. who doesn't want to be Iron Man anymore. You've got Chris Evans who doesn't want to be Captain America anymore. So obviously these actors connected with audiences. Now they don't want to do it because they've aged out of the roles or career aged out of those roles. Endgame would have been the perfect time to just say, you know what, we're done with Chris Evans, we're done with Robert Downey Jr. We're going to take a little break. We're going to wait however many years it takes, and then we can start all over again, and we can recast with different people.
Yes.
Do different storylines, and it doesn't all have to be tied into something that started 15 years ago.
Yeah, I love that you brought this up because that's one of my qualms when it comes to Spider-Man. Like I mentioned that Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man is the one that got me into like superheroes and stuff like that. I also am exhausted with how many Spider-Mans we have. Like in such like in my lifetime, we've had like 4 Spider-Mans. Like it used to be like, oh, this movie from the 70s, we're remaking it now in 2000. So it's like, okay, well, there's a bit of a space there.
Right.
So like this bad guy is like this bad guy and it looks different, but it's okay because there's like 30 years or whatever between that. But like the Spider-Man's like, okay, 5 years. Okay, new Spider-Man. I'm like, what are we doing? Give it time to breathe.
They do the same thing with Superman too. How many
Yeah.
Superman
Well,
and
some
Lois
of it-
Lanes have we had?
Some of it has to do
Oh.
with the rights. They have to make a movie every so many years to retain their rights, like Sony does. They retain the rights to Spider-Man.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I guess that makes a little bit more sense, but it's still like for a viewer, it's just like, what are we doing? Why do I have 5 Spider-Mans in my own one lifetime? Like that's exhausting.
That's why they made that awful Fantastic Four several years ago. That crazy Fantastic Four movie that got made because it was just to retain the rights. That was
talking about the 94 one or the 2015 one?
The 2015.
Oh, okay.
Both were a movie.
Yeah. Well, I think what Disney, if that's true, with the rights stuff, then they keep because they think it's going to make a lot of money, but it's been backfiring on them here lately. So they just keep. Well, Sony's put out some of the Spider-Mans and stuff, but they think it's going to make all this money. And Spider-Man's been successful, and stuff. But I think that's what Marvel's doing and Disney. They're just push it on us as long as they can because they think it's going to make money, and now it's not making money. So
yeah, a lot of that right stuff had to deal with the sad shape that Marvel was in at the beginning of the 2000s. They weren't making any money, so they licensed out all their characters. So Sony got the Spider-Man universe, and Universal got the Hulk, and that's why the Hulk hasn't been in a standalone Hulk movie since 2008, is because Universal owns the rights to the Hulk still. So now they license him out to Disney and Marvel back to them. So it's so convoluted. It's so screwed up.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know a lot about this, but that is something that I also really hate, like learning, like as a movie lover, like learning like, oh, Star Wars is owned by Disney now because it was like purchased and this and that. And it's like, oh, it's owned by this. Like I love the movie Barbarian. But knowing that like Disney recently purchased like whoever like made Barbarian, there may never be like a physical copy of it. Like just small things like that.
Because they bought 20th Century Fox.
Yeah. So it's like, oh, well, it's not her brand, so it's just not coming out. I'm like, great. I'm, like you guys, like I love to physically own what movie I love. So it's like I want to be able to touch it. And so it's like I love this movie, but I can only own it digitally. Like It irks me.
Yeah.
It irks me real bad.
I forgot to make
Yeah.
the air quotes when you said own digitally.
Oh,
Hope,
well, I'm like,
hopefully,
holding it. I'm like,
you own
oh.
it.
hopefully
yeah, I
Disney
own it.
will
like
license
I
out
own it
their
versus I own it.
Right.
yeah. Hopefully Disney will allow their licensing to go out for these third party people to make physical
Yeah.
media. Hopefully they'll do that eventually. I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I think
They're
they learned
crazy.
from Prey because that's been doing very good. That's been a very good seller for them.
Mhm.
Prey.
Yeah, I don't
Actually-
even think they wanted to convert Star Wars to 4K. I know we got that big 4K set, but the
Mhm.
best looking movie in the whole bunch is A New Hope, because
Mhm.
Fox had
It's the
actually
best.
originally done the transfer way back in 2013 or 14,
Mm.
but then the other transfers were done by Disney or whoever did it after that, and they were just like lazy transfers. You can notice a big difference between A New Hope and then Return of the Jedi and all that stuff. The Empire Strikes Back are not as good.
Hmm.
So
It's
it's kind of
good.
crazy that they don't want to do that.
Now, honestly, do you guys think after the trilogy, do you think Lucas wanted to do any more Star Wars after the 3? I think he wanted. I think he was done. I think he was kind of pressured into doing the one in '99.
I think it's like
Mhm.
Endgame, where it was like wrapped up in basically like a nice bow, and it
Mhm.
could have just been like set there. And again,
No,
like
he
all these remakes and stuff like that, it's just really upsetting. Where like you have like a movie and it's like, okay, like we've come to an end, kind of like Harry Potter. Like we've come to the end of the movie and then we're done. Like we just can like let it sit there, and it's a great movie to revisit. I feel like that's how I view it, and then it kept going. So, but
Yeah, I think with Star Wars, there was always the intention to make other movies because otherwise A New Hope wouldn't have been episode 4.
Yeah.
Which they
Yeah.
I think they renamed it episode 4 after Empire Strikes Back, I think.
Hmm.
Somewhere in there. I know it was when the original trilogy was still around and not quite completed. So
Yeah.
there was always an intention to make those earlier stories. I just don't know
I think he'd
how
written.
much.
I think he'd written most of it. I think a
Yeah,
lot of the
he had
backstory was there before the original. He just had so much material. He had to
yeah,
decide what he wanted to make.
for the first
Yeah.
3, but obviously not for the last 3, which were
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm
abominations.
saying. Like that
Yeah.
early the world building was there in his mythos, but he couldn't tell that whole story to begin with, and he always wanted to. He didn't have the technology. He wanted to make it, but he had to wait till the technology was there for him to make it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot. Yeah, that's what he said when in 99.
Yeah.
Now the technology existed. He could make it the way he wanted it.
See, that's my problem with the prequels is that there's things I like about them. Some of the world building, some of the things you find out in there, that's the stuff I kind of wanted to see.
Mhm.
How things came to be, but it's just the acting and stuff was bad in it. And the problem is I just don't think George Lucas can direct good actors, because if you notice, like American Graffiti, basically all of his actors are they're
Kids.
brand new, they're amateurs
Mhm.
essentially. They're all newcomers for the most part.
Yep.
And then you go to Star Wars, the same thing. In the
Mhm.
Star Wars trilogy, you got the same thing, except for a couple of veteran actors that, they've been around the business so long that you don't have to even direct them hardly. They're just going to put in a great performance.
Right.
Max von Sydow and people like that, these guys are, fantastic, but I just don't think when it came to directing like really good actors, I just don't think he knew. And he always had that faster and more intense style of directing where he's like, that's what he said. That's what all the actors said when they were making Star Wars. He's like, they're asking, so what do you want me to do? Or George said, just faster and more intense. That's what he always said, faster and more intense. When they do so, so that don't really work with a more veteran actor, when they're looking to get inspiration on to do the scene. So that was my biggest issue. Is like a lot of the acting wasn't that good, and other than that, I don't mind those movies too much. I don't hate them; they're not
That's a
bad.
great point.
I just think the transition from Anakin to Darth Vader's way too fast. And
Yeah.
obviously you get the Clone Wars TV series that kind of fills it in, but him just changing to the dark side so quickly within the movie, I think it don't make sense. It need to be
Mm.
a lot longer of a process.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I always viewed it as like I'm a true crime person, so I feel like it is almost like a serial killer, where it's like it almost was like within ingrained in him, and that's why he turned so quickly, because it was already like there. But
Mhm.
I can appreciate that there you need more time. It's kind of like Daenerys from Game of Thrones, where they like so quickly like switched on her in the last season. Like we
Yeah.
need more time to see the transition of like good person to like what she ended up being at the end. So
Mhm.
I appreciate that.
Freaking Padre sunk the movie. Yeah.
Jar
I
Jar
think they
Binks
put that
sank
in there
movie.
just to sell that video game that came out.
Oh yeah, oh, for sure,
Yeah.
for
They
sure.
had that pod racing game that came out at the same time. I believe I mean, I'm a car guy, so I kind of like that stuff, but it was still, yeah. There's definitely
that-
things.
That was a merchandising. I mean, I think Lucas learned his lesson from the first go round, where he made all his money off the merchandise.
Mm.
Because he didn't have a choice. So nobody knew about what merchandising was going to do. So he's like, well, I'll just take the bulk of the merchandising and let the studio have the money. And
Yeah.
he made a bundle. So then it was
Yeah.
all about the merchandising when the next
Mhm.
series came out.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had breakfast cereal and video games, and it was ridiculous. I worked in retail back then, so I remember it was just everywhere.
Mhm.
Yeah, that documentary that comes with it came with the DVD set, the original DVD trilogy set that came out when that come out? The early 2000s, like 2004.
Mhm.
Something like that.
2004.
Oh,
Yeah.
Empire of Dreams, is that the one you're talking
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think that's it, but it's a fantastic documentary about the making of it.
Yeah.
It's better than the ones that came out later on. I don't know why they didn't. I don't know if they didn't get the rights to it or what, but it's a fantastic documentary. But
about?
they
Mhm.
yeah, but I was young. I was born actually the year after the first Star Wars came out in '78, so I was too young to really until like Empire Strikes Back, or excuse me, not Empire, but Return of the Jedi, that I could really probably really remember seeing the movie, but so I don't really remember the toys that came out. But they had the crazy the figures. They had like they got caught off guard when making the little
Mhm.
action figures. Like they had these promise boxes. So it's like,
Mhm.
here, you give this to your kid at Christmas and it's a promise you're going to get these
I
sometime
remember that.
in the future,
Yeah.
and that was just crazy.
Yeah, they came out with I don't remember what they called it back then, but it was just, I remember seeing the display in Penny's of all places, where it had what the figures were going to look like, and you could buy them as a set ahead of time, but
Yeah.
you wouldn't get them until they were ready. So you would get like that empty box. And I think
Mhm.
I had the C-3PO figure for the longest time, and that was the only one I had for almost a year, I think, before you could regularly find the other ones.
Yeah.
Kenny,
So
Milli Vanilli.
Yeah.
Let's talk Milli Vanilli.
Milli Vanilli. I had the great pleasure of seeing these guys in concert on the Club MTV used to have a dance show called Club MTV, hosted by Julie Brown.
Downtown
And,
Julie Brown.
Downtown Julie Brown. Because remember on MTV there was 2 Julie Browns.
There
Oh,
was.
yeah.
She was in Earth Girls Are Easy, the other Julie
Yeah.
Brown.
Yep.
And so I was like, oh, I'm in for this. So they had different artists, but at the time the 5 that I seen was Tone Loc, Milli Vanilli, Paul Abdul, Information Society, and Was Not Was. Was Not Was big song was They Walked a Dinosaur.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
And Information Society had a song called Pure Energy. Pure Energy. I want to know.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So that was like their whole routine. Basically, they just roller skated around the stage, singing the song, playing a violin, and all this kind of stuff.
Oh.
But when I seen Milli Vanilli, I was just blown away. These guys were on for like 40 minutes, and they did not stop dancing the whole time. And I kind of knew they were lip syncing because they weren't like Billy Joel, with the basically, that at the time that was the only person I seen in concert was Billy Joel. So it was like, oh, they don't sound like Billy Joel,
Talk about
So it's
polar
like-
opposites.
Yeah, but it's really. But hey, both Grammy winners though.
It's true.
So, but when I seen them, and I said to my brother, I went with my brother, and I said, "These guys are awesome." I mean, they did not stop. I was all in because I was 18. I was like all into their CD. Had their that was like one of the ones that I bought the cassette and the CD when I was working at work. Listening to it on the line, I could just plug in my headphones and listen to it on my Walkman. But home was the CD player.
Yep.
So it was like I loved them, and I just like But like what Sean said about it, they didn't sound like the record, like because he was like, I am from Greece, he had like a real German accent, and it's like, I'm in love with you, girl. It's like, what the hell? But you're 18, you're stupid, and you kind of enjoy the music just for the music. I didn't care how it was made.
Yeah,
But-
I never had any idea that they didn't sing on the album. When they had that show in what was it, July of '89, I think it was, there were the tape started skipping, and they had to run off stage because their music was basically skipping like a record. That didn't surprise me because I figured at that time a lot of those artists lip synced live and didn't sing because they're never going to sound that good running around dancing and singing, or they'd be out of breath every other song.
Paul
sound
Abdul,
terrible.
you could tell she was lip syncing the whole time.
Yeah,
I mean, she danced for like an hour and 20 minutes on the stage. There's
Right.
no way in hell,
yeah. Unless she's some sort of physical freak, she's not going to be able to sing,
Yeah.
hit every note, and dance around like that. It's just not possible. So that didn't surprise me because those artists were more about their look and their dancing and all that than they were their music.
Mhm.
Whatever, that's fine. There's an audience for that. Who cares? But when it came out, like after they won the Grammy, Frank Farian came out and just said, "Oh, guess what? These people didn't sing on the record. These guys did." And they show, a bunch of pot-bellied 40-year-old guys who's the real Milli Vanilli. And I'm like, well, no shit. That's why they're not on the front of the album, because of the way they look. And it didn't surprise me, but it didn't surprise me about the appearance, but the fact that those guys didn't even sing. Oh man, I'll never forget that. That was insane. So yeah, the documentary just kind of explains, it's on Paramount Plus. It explains like how these two guys, Rob and Fab, got together and how they were partners and how they were dancers, and they were actually on pop music TV shows as background dancers. That's what they did.
Mm.
And when Frank Farian, this record producer, called him in, his idea was for them to be dancers, and they thought they were getting, because they thought they had put together a band, they thought they were getting a recording contract for their music, and they were just supposed to be the look. And they came in to record, and they said, "Oh no, the album's already done, and you already signed your contract. That's it. We got you by the shorties. You have to.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You've got a contract, or you owe us a bunch of money." And it forced them to go on the road.
Well, they didn't read the contract. They even
Right.
explicitly made a point to say that, well, we just signed it. We just want to be famous. We didn't even
Mhm.
read the contract. Take it to a lawyer. Nothing. Yeah, they
No.
just, yeah.
They just assumed.
Yeah.
Like I guess sometimes you're in that position, you might do things like that, especially back in the day. I think people were more aware of it now,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
of those things happening. It happened to too many people.
But
Yeah,
yeah, the
two things
documentary
struck
is
me
just
in the documentary though.
Mhm.
That one album, guys, made $586 million. Just the album, not even the singles. And the
Right.
singles sold like 2-3 million copies worldwide. Just the album, 580. Wrap your head around that. All the
Yeah,
people that
8
were out
million.
at that time. That's million. I mean,
8 million copies. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's certified diamond? Like they
That's
got
10.
platinum, 10
Mhm.
million.
Diamond is
Yeah.
Canada, isn't it?
No, Diamond's Billboard for 10 million.
Oh, it's
like
10 million. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
like
1
Zeppelin
million's
4.
platinum. 1
Yeah.
million, 500,000's gold, 1 million's platinum.
Mm,
And
okay.
it sold
Yeah.
like 8 million copies.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and
Wow.
Led Zeppelin 4, 30 that sold 37 million copies worldwide.
Yeah.
Million, and I think Michael Jackson's has sold 63 million worldwide with Thriller.
hmm
I mean, so that's 8. I mean, these guys were just 8 million,
Yep.
just with just that.
Hmm.
And what I didn't get, and I don't know about you two guys, they never explained what the contract with them with the money, basically.
Yeah,
They
what they
got it
got
up
of that.
front. Yeah, what they got of that money.
Yeah, they never talked about that at all. They
Yeah.
made money
No.
because they talked about how much money they were blowing on drugs on the road, but
Yeah.
yeah, it never specifically said what they were to earn from promoting and being in the videos and touring and all that stuff. So
Yeah,
guys,
it must have
probably-
been.
I'm sorry, I'm going to interject real quick. I have to use the bathroom, so I'll be right
Okay,
back.
go.
Okay,
no
no problem.
Good.
Yeah,
It-
I thought that was kind of interesting with they never brought that up.
Mm-mm.
I mean, but those guys were like John, you were saying about like signing a contract. If you're flat ass broke, okay, and you're 21 and 24, and and this guy is saying, and look, the guy had like, what was it,
Yeah.
Boney M?
Yeah, Boney M.
You
Yeah,
know,
Boney M.
he
Yeah.
sold millions of records, and he was like
Yeah.
very famous. I mean, if 21-year-old Kenny would have said, "Where's the paper? I'm signing it."
Yeah,
But I
exactly.
wouldn't have been blowing it on like, drugs and
Yeah.
and like clothes. I think they said they went out and bought clothes.
Yeah,
Uh,
they just they blew it on the lifestyle, basically. Partying.
Yeah, Paramount Plus. Oh, never mind. Sorry, you're answering that, Mike.
Oh, okay.
I just don't. I lost. Sorry, I missed this documentary. Yeah, I enjoyed the documentary quite a bit. I like documentaries in general, but
Mhm.
I just didn't think I'd be necessarily interested in a Milli Vanilli one. But I remember it all happening back in the day. I was quite a bit younger than you guys were, so the complete understanding of the situation wasn't. But I remember that happening because I probably had their singles, or I don't know if I actually had the album, but I probably had a couple of the single tapes,
Mhm.
back in the day.
and they had
So
they showed Arsenio. You guys don't. Well, Sean does, and I think Mike would too.
Oh yeah, I know.
Arsenio Hall was huge back
Oh, yeah.
in the late
Mhm.
80s. I
Yeah.
mean, and he was basically speaking for the black public, when he was
Mhm.
making the jokes, and then they had the In Living Color, it takes 2 figs to make Milli Vanilli,
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
thing. So there was a huge black,
Mm.
those guys were like totally blackballed, and it was just
Yeah.
those two. Varian still kept on making records.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that I walked away from the documentary feeling is I actually felt bad for Rob and Fab. I mean, yes, they didn't read their
Oh, yeah.
contract, and yes, they signed it, and Rob ended up killing himself, basically.
Yeah.
But it was just they were villainized and just totally made they were the victims and they were made the villains, and it wasn't. It was
Yeah.
Farian the whole time.
Yeah.
And like you said, he just kept on doing his thing. He didn't want to talk to the documentary filmmakers. So
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
And
It's just
what
part of
got
the
me,
machine.
yeah,
Yeah.
basically, Mike, it's really interesting because they talked to the former Arista executives there. They all knew it. Clive Davis
Mhm.
knew
Yeah.
it was all phony. And even the night that they did with the Grammys, that the head of Naris, that Michael Green, he was paid by Arista to keep everything quiet because he knew it was a sham too.
Mhm.
I mean, he
Yeah.
even told was it Rob or
Yeah.
Fab that he said, "You better make it
Yeah.
look good."
Yep.
Yeah.
It was Fab. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
it was Fab. Okay. Yeah.
Because that's how
so
they
it
got
was
in trouble. Because that one intern guy who was helping them, one of their handlers submitted him for the Grammy Award because he didn't know.
Yeah.
And they never even had that manager, that Sandy Gallen guy.
Yeah.
They never. I don't know if he's dead or not, but they never brought him into it either.
Mm-mm. No,
know?
I don't know. He's
It's like
Yeah.
all these guys were making millions and millions of dollars. And what I was saying to Sean, me and Sean talked about it earlier. We don't know if those the singers that actually sang were mad at Farian or they were mad at Robin Fab.
yeah.
About the
I
whole
think-
thing.
I think it was a little bit of both. They were probably jealous of Robin Fab for getting all the credit for what they did, or at least getting all the accolades for it. Maybe not the credit, because they obviously didn't get credit. But and then they were probably mad at Farian because Farian was so hardcore about keeping them, out of the public eye until he did it to deflect the blame and make it look like his idea to unleash them to the public and let everybody see that Robin Fab were fakes. Even though it was his idea to begin with, he was also the one that revealed
Yeah.
it. So that's how he
Mhm.
escaped blame.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out.
It's a really
Yeah.
remarkable. It's very well done too, and like
Mhm.
all the players, or even Farian's ex-girlfriend, who basically, I think she kind of had a thing for Rob.
Yeah.
That's what I got out of it.
Yeah. What was her name? Ingrid.
Ingrid.
Yeah.
Okay, I was
Yeah,
going to say
yeah.
Vivian, but it was something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, Ingrid. Yeah. Yeah, that was
Yeah, it was
it's really
it was
worth
kind
seeing.
of creepy. Like Rob, the guy from Milli Vanilli, Lauren, he would like crawl in her bed and like cuddle with her and stuff like that. It was just kind of like very weird the way she was bringing up, how
She was
she
like his
interacted
mother
with him.
figure.
Yeah,
And he was so desperate for attention that it wasn't a sexual thing. It was just he needed attention. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
he was emotionally damaged. So
Oh, geez.
being
That sounds like Bates Motel, but
yeah. You really felt for these two guys, man. The stuff that they went through. I mean, their egos were like huge and stuff. I mean, what did Rob say? They're like better than the Beatles or something like that.
yeah.
At
Yeah.
one point, so
That-
they didn't
that
do
took some
themselves
big
any
balls.
favors, but the way they were treated,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Oasis
they
said the
thought they
same thing,
had.
didn't they?
What's that?
Said Oasis said the same thing, didn't
Oh,
they?
yeah.
We're
Always.
better than the Beatles. Sorry, I can't do accents.
It was a valiant effort.
sounded good to me, John.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they really sung though,
Yeah.
performed and did everything.
Yeah. If the Beatles didn't exist, neither would Oasis, though.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah, that was a huge influence on them, wasn't it?
Oh,
Oasis, yeah.
Big
Listen to Champagne Supernova.
yeah.
I
Yeah,
remember
it's-
hearing that for the first time and going, "Holy cow, this is great!" And I wasn't a big Beatles fan when and then my uncle said, "Dumbass, here's Sergeant Pepper's," and he gives me the CD, and I'm like, "Oh, now I get it."
Yeah. Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah, I feel like Beatles and Pink Floyd were like my first like loves, along with Metallica and a couple of others. But yeah,
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I grew up
I
on the
never
Beatles.
got into Pink Floyd.
really,
Beatles,
I
Pink
never
Floyd.
I never understood that. I
My
just remember the WKRP episode where Mr. Carlson goes into Johnny and goes, "Do you hear dogs barking?" He goes, "I sure hope so." And he goes, "What's the name of this orchestra?" And he goes, "Pink Floyd." That's the first time I ever heard of Pink Floyd
oh
before.
shit. My
I was a
dad
big
had his own like cassette and he let me borrow it, and I got obsessed because like I had like the little portable CD player that you
Mhm.
had back in the day. But yeah, so I borrowed it, and I just like the Feeling Numb song like in high school. It just I felt it. So
Yep. Yep.
very relatable
That's a
soundtrack.
My
perfect
favorite
like
Pink Floyd song is, I mean, excuse me, not song. My favorite Pink Floyd album, though, people always,
Brick in the
it's
Wall.
their first album when they had Sid Barrett as their lead singer. Popper at the Gates of Dawn. That's my favorite
Oh, yeah.
of their album. Yeah,
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 when they were more like psychedelic.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The other stuff coming after it's great too, but that's my favorite album. Yeah, because he was freaking crazy, Sid Barrett.
Yeah.
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 Hey,
There's a good documentary about him too out there.
Yeah,
Is there
Yeah.
really?
Mhm.
but the Beatles and the Beach Boys, that like power pop's my jam. I never did. I'm not a big metal person, stuff like that.
Mhm.
I like power pop, like the Beatles, Beach Boys. Modern bands like Weezer and stuff like that. There's a lot more in there, but
Which is great.
that's all not.
I
Love
seen the
Weezer.
Metallica in concert, man. Man,
You have?
were-
Oh,
yeah, I seen the Saint Anger tour with Godsmack open for them. I was really blown away by Godsmack because they did the two drum kits, and it kind of like revolved around and stuff. I was just like, "Holy hell, this is
That's
like amazing!"
so cool.
You know?
That's
And
so cool.
yeah,
I love Smack.
they actually have a DVD out of that tour with Godsmack, and
That's
they had the lead singer of Godsmack. I don't know who the man is, and then the drummer.
Sully
They
Erna.
do like what is his name? I'm sorry.
Sully Erna.
Oh, look at.
Look at us knowing names all of a sudden. Oh wow. Oh wow.
But like they were actually like the drum kits were like on top of a riser, and it kind of just like went around like a swirl, like you
Oh,
see
that's
at
cool.
the carnivals
Oh,
kind of
wow.
thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I said to my buddy, "How in the hell are you guys playing? When it's going around like a mixer kind of thing." It just totally blew my mind.
I'd be like that cat meme where it's just like the
Basically, that's what I was.
What am I watching?
You know?
That's amazing.
And the same thing happened when with Metallica. They were like in the middle of this. They were in the middle of the Wells Fargo here in Philly, and basically the whole stage kind of like transformed like Transformers. Like it was just like rising, like, and they just like sent Lars like all over the place. Like he started in the middle, and then like it was just like crazy. I mean, you could buy those. I think they have. I know they had audio tapes, but I think now with the YouTube, you can go and purchase like videos of it. I mean, I was just like when I heard, because I knew some of the Metallica, like the Enter Sandman, and stuff, but when I heard Sad But True, that just totally just blew me away when I heard that live.
I saw Metallica in 1988 on the Monsters of Rock tour, and it was Kingdom Come, Dokken, Metallica, Scorpions, Van Halen. Yeah.
Oh man.
And Dokken or Metallica actually opened for Dokken, if you can believe it. I think Metallica was the second band on that day. It was like 100 degrees.
Jealous. I'm so jealous.
That was awesome. But then I saw Metallica again 2019, I think it was like last time I saw him, and it was totally crazy. They had drones flying over the stage, and they had like They were. It was the first time I've ever seen that, where they have the drones, where they have it programmed to do like formations and stuff.
Mm.
It was totally cool. The
Wow.
drones flew out of the stage and then flew over. It was amazing.
Yeah, I've yet to see Metallica, but maybe
Oh.
one day. But
Yeah, I feel like if they keep making like, you know, performances, I gotta do it. Like I love Metallica so much. I remember in high school, like I was just like just going crazy in my car every time I was driving from high school back to home. Just like
Yeah.
I loved it so much. The Sandman and then From Whom the Bell Tolled, I think are my favorites.
Mhm.
Like I love them so much.
Yeah,
Like,
Sean will know this from seeing
kind
it
of like
live.
crazy dance to it. Like I just love it so much.
They had when they did the Master of Puppets. Like all I knew was that like the the chorus, Master, Master. That's all I
Mhm.
knew of that, But it's like, man, oh, there you go, Dan.
Yeah.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
Twisted Sister.
Twisted Sister.
Wow.
Never got to see
Ooh.
Twisted Sister. I saw Dio in a bar, a small bar in Cleveland in 2002, which was sad. But
Wow.
never got to see Twisted Sister.
I seen
yeah,
Tim
I got
McGraw
to
in
see
the bar.
Dio.
Oh yeah,
It was probably 2012. They opened for Iron Maiden. It was an outdoor show.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Wow,
it was
that was a great show.
Motorhead also.
Oh,
That's
you've
cool.
seen 3 great bands.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
actually saw Motorhead in a small club, and they're so loud. It was insane how loud they play. It didn't matter how small the room was; they were
No.
up to 11. It was one of my best shows I've seen. It was really good.
Wow.
Did Dio replace Ozzy? And was he the
Mhm.
replacement for Ozzy originally? And yeah,
Black Sabbath.
Black
there's a
Sabbath,
good
yeah.
story. I did watch a documentary this week, a different one. It was called Stupid. It's the documentary about Big Brother. Big Brother was a skateboard magazine that essentially it spawned like Jackass, the guys from Jackass.
Okay.
But it's a pretty raunchy magazine. But one of the guys from the magazine at the time, he went to interview Dio. He got this opportunity to interview Dio, and instead of going into asking like all these fans and stuff before Dio came in, they were saying, "Yeah, you don't say this to him, don't say this or nothing." So he proceeded to do everything that he told him. Like he was basically calling him short because he's like real short.
Yeah.
And like they said, don't ask him about Ozzy. And so he asked him about Ozzy, and he just antagonized him. And it was
Oh, wow.
hilarious because he got
How did he
pissed.
do it?
And the
Did
guy that was antagonizing was like a foot taller than him, so he wasn't going to do nothing. Dio wasn't going to do anything, So
Yeah.
yeah, it was funny.
That's
Yeah.
funny because
No,
Dio
he
was a
didn't hit
pretty-
him or nothing, but he
pretty-
basically
laid
asked him
back
to
dude.
leave, and the guy they left. So
Yeah. That's funny.
There's a new documentary on Dio I want to get.
Mhm.
It just recently
Yeah.
came out.
It's awesome. It's
Oh, is
really,
it?
real. Yeah,
cool.
I saw
Yeah.
it on it. Paramount Plus is actually, if you have the Showtime add-on, you can see it. Forget the
Oh,
name,
okay.
but it's Dio. Something Dreamers Never Die or something like that.
Yeah, it's something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
yeah.
really good.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Since we're talking about music, could I pose a question?
Yeah.
What was your first concert? Like what band did you see?
Billy Joel, The Bridge Tour 1986. I was in the literally last row of the spectrum on the top where my head, I'm 6'6". Okay. I was like literally touching. Yeah, I'm 6'6". I played football. I was literally touching the top of the roof of the spectrum, sitting there.
Oh geez.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My mom took me. That was my first concert, and she kept on going. Do we have to keep on going up? And I'm like, yeah, we're not there
Yeah.
yet. And I slept overnight at John Wanamaker's to get tickets for that. And I literally had the last 2 seats, me and my mom. That was my first concert.
It's awesome.
Oh,
Nice.
wow.
mine
How
was
about you, Mike?
1989. It was Cinderella, Winger, and the Bullet Boys.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's awesome.
first concert. It was weird. My aunt took me because I was only like 14 or something like that. I couldn't drive yet. So yeah. I don't think I saw any other shows until I saw like Aerosmith in 94 or Smashing Pumpkins actually in 94 on my birthday.
Ooh,
Oh,
cool.
wow.
Siamese Dream tour. It was awesome.
Nice.
I think I'm still deaf
Yeah.
in one of my ears because I was right up against the main monitor, the loudspeaker monitor.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen my first concert was Smashing Pumpkins, the next tour,
Oh yeah, the Melancholy.
Melancholy and Infinite Sadness
Sadness.
tour. Yeah.
That's cool.
And believe it or not, for somebody who used to be a sound engineer, I've not seen very many concerts, hardly at all.
Hmm.
That's why I don't like metal much anymore because I had to run sound for a lot of metal bands. That's what everybody wants to play is metal. So I kind of soured on metal. So I like,
It's
but
the worst.
yeah, but the concert you seen, I think my friend went and seen, Mike,
Oh yeah.
and didn't people throw shit at them on stage?
I don't remember. It was at
Yeah.
Louisville Gardens, which
Yeah.
is it's still there, but it's not a venue anymore. But
It was it
I don't-
multiple shows though, because it was the same show that they went to, and they said they was throwing shit at them on stage. I don't know
They-
why.
they probably did. I don't remember, but it was just one show. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
How
but
about
the
you,
show I
Lauren?
seen, they played with Garbage. You guys remember Garbage?
Mhm.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
Shirley Manson.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Shirley
Yep.
Manson.
Someday.
The
Yeah.
band that opened for that show was they were called Red Meat. And I've never heard of anything about them since.
Yeah.
They were unknown, I guess, at the time, but
And still
went bad.
unknown today.
exactly. Yeah.
That's a very interesting name.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. That was
How
Lauren,
about
what
you,
was yours?
Lauren? What was your first concert?
It was actually Papa Roach. I don't know how you guys feel.
Oh,
about
yeah.
Papa Roach.
I've heard of them.
Papa Roach.
I told one of my friends that my first concert was Papa Roach, and they said I'm sorry. So I'm like kind of hesitant. I personally like Papa Roach. I've got a couple of songs that I really like about theirs, but when my friend said I'm sorry, I was like, ooh, okay. Do we not like Papa Roach? I don't know. I enjoy it. And so they have a
How about
couple of
you,
songs I
Sean?
really enjoy.
The first concert that I went to that I chose to go to was the Cars and the Motels in 1980.
Oh, man.
Oh,
I
wow,
was in
that would be
love
cool.
with her.
Yeah.
I
That
Lauren,
beat me for
check
show,
out
Sean.
on the YouTube, Only the Lonely.
This was
Okay?
before
And
that.
listen to it was before
Look at
that?
her now.
Oh yeah.
Only the Lonely.
Yeah, they were
Only the
the
Lonely by the Motels.
Okay.
Yeah.
That woman had such a great voice. And I was like, when she left the Motels, I'm like, okay, we're going to get a lot of music from her.
Yeah,
And
she
she just
disappeared.
kind of faded away.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they were more like a punky band when I saw them.
Those that just
Um,
like float away into the distance. It's kind of
Yeah.
weird.
If you can
It's
live on the
obscurity.
royalties. Yeah. But the first one that I went to by myself with my friends was Grim Reaper and Uriah Heep in 1985.
Oh wow,
Oh,
Grim Reaper.
Yeah. Yeah. We got to meet Grim
I-
Reaper after the show, which was pretty cool.
I actually lied to you guys. That was not my first concert,
Uh-oh.
and I think the
Shame
first
on
one was
you.
embarrassing. It was embarrassing.
You don't remember exactly.
It's embarrassing to me. Embarrassing to me because for Christmas, my parents got me. I guess this was probably 88 or 89. I guess they got me tickets in to New Kids on the Block.
What's embarrassing about that, man? They were popular at the time.
Because I wanted to go see Billy Joel because he had an album that was big and like I was like I wasn't listening to New Kids on the Block at the time. I was listening to Billy Joel. I'd rather
John
sing
was
Billy
hanging
Joel.
tough.
Get it?
Yeah.
It's funny when the New Kids played Louisville back then. Donnie Wahlberg got arrested for setting the hotel room on fire or something. I mean, he didn't
He's
burn the
such a
hotel
rebel.
down. Yeah, and he got put in jail for the night or something like that.
Isn't that the band that like what's his face was listening to in It? Where like she's like, "Oh, what are you listening to?" And she like takes his headphones. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, look at that! Way to go, Abby. That was a great one. Vanilla Ice.
Nice.
Oh man.
Oh dang.
No.
Yeah. My wife is a big fan of Vanilla Ice and New Kids on the Block. She just dropped
Look at
a
you.
bunch of money to go see New Kids on the Block next summer. So
My
Yeah,
friend just
I'd
went to see. My friend just went to see Duran Duran in
I'd go see
Atlantic
them.
City.
I'd go see
Yeah,
Duran
she said
Duran.
they were fantastic. She's loved them since like 1982.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, Beavis and
Grim
Butthead
Reaper.
did not.
Beavis
did
and
not,
Butthead.
yeah,
Yeah,
they did
I was
not,
about to
uh,
say that when you
Oh my
said
God.
Grim Reaper, Sean.
Well,
but-
I have a funny story about Grim Reaper. When we were talking to them after the show, my buddy who didn't have a filter. Do you know the band Accept? They were a metal band,
Mhm.
balls
Oh,
to the
yeah.
wall.
yeah.
Okay, their lead singer was portly and not the most attractive man in the world. And so my friend Blaze goes to the lead singer of Grim Reaper. He's like, "You look like Udo Dirkschneider from Accept." And he goes, "Hey, I know I'm ugly, but I'm not that fucking ugly."
Well, he definitely had more hair though than
Yeah,
Udo.
he did.
What was your worst
I read-
concerts, guys?
Ooh,
I
New
don't-
Kids on the Block.
Man,
Wow, he came in swinging. Oh my
we
god.
didn't even stay because we were like in the nosebleeds, and even up in the nosebleeds it was like blaringly loud. I mean, like it was so loud in Rupp Arena that it like hurt your ears like
mm.
loud, and we were surrounded by screaming girls. And if it had been a couple of years older, that would be great, but I was probably 11 years old and I wasn't
now, John, more
going through
important
the
question. Did you
puberties
see
at the time.
Hanging Tough
Yeah.
tour, or did you see the Step by Step tour?
Probably the Hanging Tough, the first one. I'm pretty sure. I don't
okay.
know. I didn't follow them that far. You
I'm
know.
Go in your
nerd, I
closet
know
and look
all
at the
this stupid
T-shirt.
stuff.
Come on. Sorry.
I'm a
Yeah,
nerd
it's
too
my-
for good music.
My
Yeah,
worst,
yeah.
my worst concert was Aerosmith. The
it's
Honkin'
whatever.
on Bobo
Just
tour.
listen.
They were
What?
absolutely terrible.
Aerosmith.
Really?
Aerosmith, Honkin' on
Hmm.
Bobo tour. The people that we didn't want to leave were Cheap Trick open for them,
Oh
and
yeah.
I only heard Dream Police. And what's the one that Conan did? Surrender. Is that?
Mhm,
Oh yeah.
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 They're the only two songs I heard of them. They played for 45 minutes. The crowd kept on yelling, "Stay, stay," and they played one more song that they weren't supposed to play, and I think Aerosmith got pissed off at them for it because Aerosmith, it looked like Perry was drunk,
Mm.
and I don't
Yeah.
know because we had my mom worked for a law firm, and we got club box tickets, so it
Oh,
was
okay.
like they were like right here, and we were like sitting right there where the stage was, and Joe Perry was fantastic on guitar, but the lead singer, he kept on slurring his words and stuff, and he's like, "Sing it with me," and that's my all-time pet peeve. It's like, dude, we're paying $150 to see you.
Sing it with
No,
me.
you sing it.
Yeah.
You sing it. Or
You
paying
sing
for
it.
you to sing.
You know?
I sang it on the car
Yeah.
on the way here. I'm here to see
Yeah,
you.
and it was like MMR was blasting. It's like let's listen to it because they had the Honkin' on Bobo, but the big song previously to that was Jaded. Jaded.
Mm.
I'm colorblind, so apparently the whole stage went like blue when he went like My Blue Eyed Girl or something like that, and I was like, okay, this is cool with the but he was terrible.
Hmm.
He was absolutely terrible, off tone and stuff like that. And yeah, everybody has a bad day, or we all have a bad
Yeah.
day at work and stuff
Right,
like
right.
that. But man,
We-
awful.
Mm.
Yeah,
I would-
Eastern Kentucky, here in my town, they have a concert hall that they built a few years ago, and they have like all these like bands come through, all these like all these 80s bands come through here and play shows.
Mhm.
And I got to see. I went and seen REO Speedwagon a couple years ago, and I got to see the Beach Boys, which is somebody I've wanted to see for a long time. I missed the show the show I really wanted to see is like back in 2000, I think it's 99 or 2000. Brian Wilson toured the Pet Sound Symphonic tour he had, and
Oh, wow.
I really wanted to see that. That's the kind of stuff I like. Sorry,
I thought John was going to say 98 degrees.
no.
Ah, oh my god. Do we remember
Happy birthday to Nick Lachey if you're watching the show today, bud. You're 50.
The contrast between NSYNC and 98 Degrees is so funny. Still to this day, it's like, is that NSYNC or is that 90 Degrees? We don't know.
I was going to say,
Mhm.
what's the difference other than
Different band
Song
members.
titles.
It's pure Lachey.
It's the same.
It's pure Lachey.
Mike,
I
what's the worst show you saw?
Well, I went to this show, but it wasn't by choice. ICP, the Insane Clown
Oh.
Posse. I know they got a diehard fan base, but I
Oh,
just
yeah.
wasn't. Yeah,
You're not
The
a juggalo?
Juggalos?
nah, I'm not
Paint your
juggalo.
face? Come on now.
No, but I went and saw. I what was I seen? I saw whatever. It's good. It's done. I don't need to see it anymore.
I like how
You
you're
lived.
just like, I did it. Please don't.
Yeah, I did it, but no.
Could you
I'm not-
imagine going to a concert with like a girlfriend that you're just like starting out dating? Okay, honey, paint your face. We're going to see ICP tonight.
Yeah.
We're going. Ow.
Well-
Come on, Clara.
Well, and they would pour Faygo on people. They would have these 2 liters of like the Faygo drink, and they would just they would be dousing people with it. It's like shit.
Oh my god, what's the point in painting your face? Because they're gonna douse you in stuff. I'm like,
Yeah. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, I smell like
Music gallery.
blueberry Faygo now.
wow, fantastic. Thank you for that.
Yeah. No, I mean it was fun at the time, but it wasn't my cup of tea though. But it was just one of those things. You went to it, and
You lived through it.
I'm open minded, about music. I love all kinds of music, but I don't know.
Saw Les Claypool once at the
Oh, that's
Fearless
cool.
Flying Frog Brigade. I'm remembering all this stuff that I've seen because some of the stuff I wouldn't call like stadium tours. I used to see a lot of smaller shows like in Cincinnati,
Mhm.
Bogarts, stuff like that up there. And
Mhm. Yeah.
How about you, Lauren?
And,
Who was the worst one you've seen?
To be honest, I've been kind of picky when it comes to concerts. So my least favorite one was actually at like the kind of town carnival. Like 9 Inch Nails was actually playing randomly at like a
Oh,
corner.
really?
Yeah. So they were great. So it's not a disservice to them, but I felt like obviously because it was like a carnival like scenario, it felt really weird. But it was really cool to see them. But yeah, I just thought that was a bit odd. But I've never had like a bad interaction. I've never had like a beer spilt on me. I've never had like that kind of like bad interaction, thankfully. So I think that's the one that I would pick. Like where it's just like so random and it's just like 9 Inch Nails. Yeah, like they were great, but it was just like right behind me, some kids winning like a stuffed animal. And so it's just like it was
When
really
was this?
weird. So yeah, it was a weird environment, but they were great. So no disservice to them.
Yeah,
When
I
was
never
this,
had a
Lauren?
bad thing at a concert either. But I was, I mean, the heaviest person I seen was like the Milli Vanilli, not Milli Vanilli, Metallica and Godsmack. I mean, the other people I seen were not like remotely like heavy metal that you would call. Like I seen Shania Twain was like one of the best concerts I ever went to in my life.
That's cool.
She just played for 2.5 hours, and she was just constantly moving
Yeah.
the whole night.
I'm
It
sure
was
she put on a good
it's
show.
really, she puts on a hell of a show, and she sings live too.
Mhm.
You know, because where we were in the club box, we were like straight on, and the opening act was getting booed because he played. His name was James Otto. He's a big songwriter in Nashville, and he had just put out this new album. And he goes, "I'm going to sing 3 songs, and then we're going to bring out Shania." So after he was done the first one, he's going, "I got 2 more." Because the crowds in Philly keep it kind of crazy,
Got one left.
So when he was done,
Don't do it.
yeah, when he was done the 3rd song, he goes, "I'm getting the hell out of here now. Shania's coming up next." That's exactly what he said. My mom goes,
Coming, I promise. I just gotta do one more.
Got his cheap pop and left.
"Oh
That's
yeah."
how I would be
was
if I was
funny.
like an intro to like a big name. I was like, I'm gonna do one more. I'm gonna do one more. Just call them your tits. I'm gonna do one more, and then they're coming out. It's okay. Like, they're still coming out.
I also seen
Who
the
was the
Flaming
weirdest-
Lips. I don't know if you guys
Who
remember
was
them.
the weirdest combination that you've seen? Like opening act to, because mine was Kool and the Gang opened for Van Halen.
That's a cool lineup.
Yeah.
Swear to God, it was
Yeah.
the reunion tour with Roth.
Yeah, I never
Wow.
understood that
Yeah.
lineup. Why they picked Kool and the Gang?
Oh,
I mean, Kool and the Gang's
You've
cool.
seen it too?
No
Yeah.
pun.
they were fantastic. They
Mhm.
played all their hits and stuff, and it's like and even the lead singer goes, "Okay, Van Halen's coming up next," and it's like, dude, we were enjoying you.
Yeah, that's
know?
that's a bizarre lineup.
The only time I saw Van
Some
Halen
people
was
want to see them, but we're
Yeah.
enjoying you.
I saw him in 2004 when they got back together with Sammy and like
I've
Eddie.
seen that tour,
Eddie
too.
was still having like drinking issues and stuff, and it was
He was
it wasn't a train
off.
wreck or anything, but it was. I mean, I finally got to see Van Halen, so I was
Mhm.
glad. It was pretty good.
Yeah, they were
I
the
didn't have
headliner
great
at that
seats.
Monsters of Rock tour that I saw with Metallica, and that it was Van Halen was the headliner with Sammy.
Well, I heard about that tour that Metallica pretty much just wiped the stage every night,
Oh yeah,
everywhere, just because they were just hot and on fire.
yeah. They were at the. It was right after. It was the year or 2 years after Cliff died, so they were still like they hadn't
Yeah.
done the Black Album yet. They were still a thrash band, and they were on fire.
Yeah, and Dawkins was like in the midst of breaking up, and
Yeah, they were-
Van Halen was very keyboard heavy at that time too. So
Yeah.
of course Metallica was the champion
yeah,
because they
yeah,
really
were the
rocked
most-
out.
They were the most metal band there.
Yeah.
I would say the weirdest opening act I've ever seen was when I went to see Kiss in 2019. They had a painter open up for them.
Oh yeah, I heard about
Oh,
that.
And
What?
a painter, yeah, he would come out and he would do these paintings on the fly on stage. It was very bizarre. It was interesting. It was not what I wanted to see. I wanted to see a band open up for Kiss,
Mhm.
but yeah, he painted I think the Cleveland skyline, and then he painted a picture of Kiss, and that took a half an hour, and it was, I can't remember his name. I don't remember anything about him other than it was a painter.
I'm sorry,
Opened
your
up for Kiss.
delivery was fantastic. Where it's like, it's not what I wanted to see.
Yeah, your watercolors just set us on fire, and
Yeah,
I'm just gonna go
Yeah.
home now.
Sir, you don't
Sure.
belong here.
yeah. Like,
It looks like
ladies
that
and
would
gentlemen, Kiss, but first, a painter.
Leroy Neiman.
Like,
It looks like it would slow the momentum
something,
down.
it's just like, what
Yeah, it
mountain?
it did not fire the crowd up, which is funny because that was on the end of the road tour before the pandemic, and it was. I thought the Kiss show afterwards was okay, but they actually had an opening band when they came back last month, and the actual Kiss show was much better. So I don't know if the crowd had anything to do with that or not. But
It was like fourth choice where everyone didn't want to be part of it. So like the painter was like, "Yeah, I'll do it."
Could you imagine that you're going to a Kiss concert and you want to hear Dr. Love and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
Bob Ross comes out with his paint and goes,
Yeah.
"We're gonna make pretty little clouds." Oh,
It's like, what's he
look at the
doing?
little clouds.
People all the way in the back are
It's like-
like, what is he doing?
Yeah,
So funny.
All right, his amps
Well,
turned up. I
Dude,
don't
that
know.
tops
least it
everything.
could've-
I've never heard of a painter before.
At least he could have
Wow.
painted their faces before the show. Then the show started. He just,
Yeah.
You
It
want
sounded-
the best? You got the best painter in the world, Leroy.
Okay.
I gotta look up his name.
I could have swore somebody else did that too. I
Really?
can't think of who it was.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
craziest thing I
That is-
saw was
Oh my god.
it wasn't like a big concert. It was a friend of my a friend's band, one of my friends' bands were playing down in Tennessee, and like they had like two separate stages, and one of the stages the I guess they were kind of like the main act, but they were while they were performing music, they were making a stew. The lead singer was cooking while they were performing. It was the craziest thing. Hey, cooking up a stew and singing, kind of thing.
He's a multitasker.
Multitasker. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He can do both.
David Garibaldi was this guy's name. That's the name.
David
of the painter.
Garibaldi.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the
Shout out.
craziest show I went and saw was it was probably 1999. I saw Korn. Rob Zombie opened up, and I think there was somebody else, and it was the craziest off the chain. They had the big monitors, where you can see the audience, and like
I'm so
women were
jealous.
just lifting their tops, and it was just nonstop. It was like insanity. It was crazy.
And I'm sure they were all
so
model
jealous
quality.
of that lineup. Oh my god, that's so
Yeah.
cool.
And Rob Zombie had these big fire pyros going off, and the heat would blow back into the audience off of it. It was so big. These big pots. You had these huge pots of fire would just shoot up, and it was crazy. It had robots on stage, and it was, I don't know. You had to be there.
Yeah.
I remember my
That was
friend
probably
went to
pretty
see
cool.
Guar. Do you remember Guar?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
He goes, and he took a little bit of the pot before he went and was doing it while he was there. And let me tell you, he goes, dude, that was the trippiest shit I've ever seen in my life. And I'm like, well, you were probably all potted out before you went there, Eric. Oh, I shouldn't have said his name, but
He's
you
like,
know,
and
Oh,
it's
but
still
he goes, that show is awesome. I'm like, do you remember much of it? He goes, no, man, it was great.
yeah. Guar's coming in a couple months to local, to my town locally. So I know they lost their lead singer a few years ago, but it's
Oh, really?
yeah, so it's whatever version it is now. But yeah, that's a total show to go see, just
Yeah.
the
You should take your
costumes.
kids, Mike. They would probably get a kick out of that.
Jeez, I don't know. They may like that. They
Culture
may be
them.
freaked out.
give them culture.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah. It's like, just explain to them, listen, the music's going to be absolutely crappy, but man, this is a show, you know?
Yeah. You
You don't even
will-
tell them anything. Just let the
Yeah.
the music and the colors just like
I could tell them there's somebody
Right.
else, and then when we get there, this band comes out, and they're like, "What's going on?"
don't ask questions, just watch.
Why are all these
Yeah.
weird people here?
Yeah,
That's how I'd parent.
Dressed with, like,
just
big-
watch.
Masks and stuff.
Yeah.
We'll ask questions
Yeah.
later.
Yeah.
these huge masks and all that, weapons and all
Just
kind of
watch.
stuff.
You just wait. It's gonna be an experience.
Exactly.
You'll never be the same
It
again.
would be kind of interesting.
This
Mhm.
is
I
why
would-
don't have
hey, if
children.
they
I'd
came
be
to Philly,
"Hey,
I would
let's
definitely
watch
go
this
check them
crazy
out."
stuff."
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Performance art.
Yeah, exactly. You'll write a college paper about this one day.
Yeah.
My
How the
father
giant
saw the
penis shot
Titanic.
stuff at
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one. Yeah.
But if
Yeah,
you don't
I
see
don't
the
know.
bad ones, you won't remember the good ones that you
Right.
see, you know?
That's true. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I like
mean,
going, like, I can go see anything live. I don't care. My wife goes, her and I have completely opposite musical tastes. And she'll ask me to go to some of the shows she wants to go to. and she gets bummed out because I don't like dance and get into the music and all that. But I'm people
Yeah.
watching like crazy, and I've
Mhm.
sat through Britney Spears and Lady Gaga, and they were actually
Mhm.
entertaining, but the crowd was
Mhm.
half the fun.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah, people
But
watching is great.
yeah, that's hilarious. Lady Gaga had the most interesting and whacked out people at her show.
Oh, I'm sure.
Really?
Yeah, I know that's a surprise, but
No,
but
I just figured they would either be gay men or like teenage girls. I
it
don't
was
think there
both.
would be
Yeah,
like.
but there
Oh,
was
okay.
everything in between. It was
I
really
was about to
crazy.
say, I'm sure there's both of those and then everything else
Yeah,
because
it was
Lady Gaga is kind
insane.
of insane. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was a great show. Her opening act was terrible. It was a hologram. It was a
It was
Hold on
Japanese
now.
excuse me, a
hologram.
hologram?
Yeah,
No, we're hologramming.
yeah, it's a
Oh, wow.
hologram.
God,
Yeah, it
that's
was terrible.
insane.
It was a hologram anime character singing techno in Japanese, I think. Yeah, it was awful.
Wow.
Yeah, that
It
sounds
wasn't as bad as The Painter, but it was bad.
Yeah, I went to a concert with my wife. She likes Billie Eilish, and I had never
Oh,
I'd listened to her, but when I went to the show and saw it, I was really impressed. It was a great.
Mhm.
She put on a great show. Technical stuff, just lights, and it was crazy. It was good.
That's cool.
So it's like, yeah.
Pink was just here in Cleveland last night, and I didn't get to go. But I've heard her show is amazing.
I like
She
her
does
too.
all the
Pink's-
wire acts and stuff, and just
Mhm.
absolutely insane. And her music, isn't terrible. I wouldn't consider myself a Pink fan by any stretch of the imagination, but to go see her live, I would totally do it.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, I've
Put on-
I'm not a Pink fan either, but I do like some of her songs, so that would be
Mhm.
really cool.
yeah.
I know she does put on a great show because she was
Yeah.
she was in Philly, I think, in July.
Mhm.
I want to say, and she's from here in Philly, so
Hmm.
she was like all into like the Phillies and stuff like that. And yeah,
Oh,
my
that's
friend
awesome.
went to see her and she loved it. She thought it was great, and she's another one that doesn't sit. Like she's like
Mhm.
flying around the trapeze, and the
Yeah.
only time that she ever sat was when she played the piano for 2 songs. She did
Yeah.
that song with the guy from Fun,
Yeah.
the slow song. He actually was there to sing
Oh,
it
that's
with
cool.
her. Yeah,
That's
so that
cool.
was like the big surprise. So, but yeah, there was like I went to see oh god, it's Luther Vandross.
Mhm.
Luther Van, he was fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. He just I was like 5 rows from center stage, and it just like totally blew me away. Absolutely stunning how great he was.
He
Did
probably
you
Throw
doesn't
your
lip
pennies
sync.
on stage.
Oh no, he does not lip sync. Dude, that man.
Did you
played
hear
for
me, Kenny?
2 What's that?
I said, did you throw your panties on stage?
No, I didn't. No, I seen him, and the opening act was Anita Baker.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he was kind of
Crap,
one
when
of the
was this?
he kind of that effect on the women, didn't he? Luther
Oh, yeah.
Vandross.
7.
That voice, yeah.
Yeah.
Baby making music.
Woo-woo music.
Well, that was. I'll give you a funny thing because I actually seen him twice. The last time I seen him was the Power of Love tour in '92, and Sinbad was his opening act. The
Oh,
comedian.
wow. Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
he made the funniest joke that, and I still remember this because I always say, he goes, "Turn up the lights." So all the lights came up in the spectrum, and he goes, "Man, Luther doing good now. Damn, look at this place, 20,000 people, and look, 15,000 white people in the audience." He's going, "Luther doing really good now," and he sees, and I am like literally center stage. Thank God he didn't pick on my fat ass. I'm sitting like right there, and he picked on. There was 2 other white couples right beside, and he goes, "Look at that. They're going, oh honey, we're going to go see Luther," and he goes, "Oh, okay, that's great." And he goes, all the brothers are sitting in the back, and he's going, "Damn, look at all the white people out here, baby. We're going to go see Luther tonight." He was absolutely hysterical. You know, he was just tuning up the crowd, and I was like, man, thank God he didn't pick on me. Because I thought he was going to go, you know, when they say about the comedy clubs, you don't want to sit up front with the comics. And
Mhm.
I was like,
Right.
I thought I was safe, you know, going to a concert. But when he turned on the lights, he was picking on everybody. Oh man. But yeah, that was so funny. I still remember that to this day, that joke.
I
Yeah.
saw Gallagher open for, I think it was James Taylor back in the 80s. Remember Gallagher?
What?
Yeah. Yes.
Smashing
Gallagher.
watermelons.
James Taylor,
Yeah.
Gallagher was a comic whose big
Yeah.
thing was he would smash watermelons with a big mallet.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was
Okay,
his,
so you,
the extent of his comedy act. Yeah. So the front row of the of the Blossom Music Center where I saw him was covered in, you know, watermelon pieces. I'm sure that's what they were expecting on a nice, easy listening night of
Yeah.
going to see
Yeah.
James Taylor. I think
Whenever I
it was
see
either
your
James
smiling
Taylor or
face.
Melissa Manchester. Yeah.
Was it Gallagher 1 or 2?
Is there two of them? This was in
Well,
1980.
yeah, especially I think he sold the act to his brother later on, and he called it Gallagher 2.
Oh, this was in 1980, so it would have been the original.
I don't
No.
know if it was the original or the first. Yeah.
And there was somebody back then that was imitating Gallagher. There was a big lawsuit about that.
Oh,
Really?
really?
Yeah, there was some guy trying to
did.
pass him off as Gallagher.
He did
I don't know, he had
Chappelle
to
show.
Oh yeah, the Chappelle show. That
Black
was
Gallagher. Black Gallagher.
yeah. That was
Instead of,
hilarious.
but he just shot the watermelon at the end, and instead of,
Oh, Lord.
Mm.
We need comedy so bad these days.
yeah.
Yes, we do. We do.
We need to make fun of ourselves again.
You want to
Hey,
talk
guys,
about something?
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I
Go
just
ahead.
wanted to share. I'm actually gonna have to dip out a little bit early, if that's all right. I
It's
have
no
Yeah.
problem.
to do, but it was really great being a part of this, and can't wait to do
Yeah,
it next
great.
week.
Yep.
Bye bye.
Thanks, Lord.
See you next week.
Yep,
See you
see
guys.
you, Lauren.
Bye.
See you, Lauren.
See ya. And now it's 4.
And then there were 4.
So what did you guys? I was gonna see what did you guys pick up. I meant to get to this when everybody was still here, but we got in a decent conversation going there about music. I thought that was, especially you guys. I seriously have not seen very many concerts my whole life. It's weird. Like I've always been really into music, but for one, you know, they didn't come around here a lot. I mean, they came to
Mhm.
Lexington, but it's just it wasn't in my backyard, you know.
Mhm.
And so I just didn't go to a whole lot. Like Mike had even more being around Louisville, you know. But if we went to something, you had to travel to see it. So I just didn't. My parents didn't do that stuff when I was a kid. Then when I got older, we just didn't do it because I was around music all the time. When we went and seen shows, I went downtown. You know, I ran sound for a lot of indie bands, and then ran sound for a lot of metal bands in there. So I was around a lot of music. I just didn't go to concerts. So I just never had any interest in concerts for some reason. I don't know.
Mm.
Mhm.
And then after the reason I quit doing music is because it affected my hearing. So going to see something now, if it's going to be really loud, I'm probably going to wear earplugs in it.
Oh, yeah.
It kind of made my hearing sensitive, not so much everything's like bright and loud all the time. It's just hurts my ears, you know. So
Yeah.
it kind of sucks.
Yeah, I have tinnitus from listening without earplugs and standing up in front of the stage, and like Mike said, I'd be in next to the monitors and the amps and stuff. I lost a lot of hearing. So in the 80s, I mean, you name a band that was on Headbangers Ball in the 80s, I probably saw them, and probably saw them way louder than they should have been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now I actually have right here, I've got this is my earplugs that I take to shows.
Oh well.
Case.
If I'd have
I
been a
some
little
pod-
bit older, there'd have been a lot of those 80s bands because I love to see Guns N' Roses. I know you can go see them now and all that shit,
Yeah.
but I mean, I would
Not today.
I would want to see the original lineup, you know,
Mhm.
back in the day. And
Yeah, I wanted
Yeah.
to see Guns N' Roses in 1987, and they were coming to Louisville, and they were opening for Alice Cooper
Mm-hmm. Yep.
back then. That was right before they broke, or they may have had a big buzz then, but it's like I really wanted to see Guns N' Roses then, but my parents would have never took me, because I was like,
Yeah.
I was like 11 or 12 or something.
Yeah.
Well, I had to sneak to get the album. I was listening to that stuff like Beastie Boys and stuff, but I remember like Motley Crue and stuff. I would have to basically sneak and get it. Like I remember being like 13, 14 years old and getting stuff. My parents aren't like outwardly like really religious, but they're kind of they kind of they're kind of pretenders religion stuff. They we always went to church and stuff, but they're not pretenders. But but they would say stuff sometimes because I've got like the Stone Temple Pilots album back in whenever it was out, their first album. And I think my mom or dad seen it and they're like, "Oh, you're going to take," I'm not taking this back because none of their songs are really that bad, but their album cover was, I forget what was the name of that album? It was
Core.
What's it,
Core was
Core?
the first one. Yeah, that one with sex type thing on it.
Yeah, I think they may have seen that that title in there and they thought it was stuff like that. So they would never took me to that kind of stuff.
Yeah, back in the 80s, you had that whole satanic panic going on too, so everybody was, it was crazy, So I think that turned a lot of parents, if they didn't know any better, they would have been like, oh my God,
My parents didn't.
Because my dad was kind of like that for a minute, and then he got, he realized it wasn't anything bad, but
yeah.
Because I remember because I skateboarded a little bit when I was a kid. I not anything special, but I skateboarded like the rest of us did. Everybody had a skateboard, but like I remember my mom made sure she pointed out that time when Mark Gator Rogowski, he killed that girl. You remember he murdered that girl and dumped her in the desert or whatever, but he was like kind of a famous skater at the time, but it was all over the news and she pointed that out. It's like, oh, because I skateboard, I'm gonna go out and kill some, type of stuff,
Yeah.
You're young and impressionable.
Yeah. It was a time to be, the 80s were a very interesting time for stuff like that too,
The moms calling in for remember the whole controversy with Married with Children. I don't know if that might have been in the 90s. I can't remember if that happened in the 80s or the early 90s.
87 that premiered.
Yeah, but it was over that episode where Al, and I guess it was still the 80s because I'm pretty sure it wasn't Steve Rhodes. Was it Steve he went with, or was it Steve, or was it Jefferson?
I think it was.
Was it
Steve.
Jefferson? But they go to a lingerie store. They go to a lingerie store, and the woman comes out wearing like some. It's really not that revealing. It's just like But some woman called in and made a big deal and tried to get them taken off an air, then threatened that she was going to call the sponsors and stuff, and they basically end up just laughing at her. They're like, "Man, we don't care," at the end. And rolled on,
Yeah.
But she made a big stink about it there for a while.
You guys remember
at the time when that premiered, Fox was the edgy,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They were pushing the envelope on stuff,
Yeah.
That's why the Simpsons were like really insanely popular when they were on Tracy Ullman show, because it was like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Like
guys remember the PMRC hearings in front of Congress?
Oh
yeah.
Dee Snider from Twisted Sister and John Denver and Frank Zappa went to defend rock and roll from labels from the what was it?
Tipper
the
Gore.
Parents Music. Yeah, Tipper Gore.
Resource.
Yeah, Parents Music Research.
You just couldn't imagine that happening now, though. That was pretty serious, or it was trying to be very serious. But
it's funny. They still put the labels on stuff.
Yeah,
but nobody buys physical music anymore, so nobody sees it. So you can stream whatever the hell you want.
Well, even with digital, they still have to put like an E somewhere out there.
Yep.
I don't know
Yeah.
if they have to do it, but I see it a lot,
Yeah.
on like
I know.
Spotify and stuff.
Yeah, Spotify, you can report like if something has profanity in it, so they take a look at it. But they have filters and stuff, parental filters and stuff. But that all came out of that. It's just
Mhm.
kind of hilarious.
I
Yeah.
finally picked this set up this week, book set, the
Oh, wow.
manga set.
Oh, okay. I believe it.
Nice.
It's really good. I've read half of this first book, so I'll finish it up later.
Oh,
It's
wow.
really cool stuff. I've been wanting this for a while, but I don't necessarily like hardback books too much. When I buy books, I try to buy paperback. I don't know. I just like when you're reading it, the aesthetic. But this is really nice. It's like a special edition. Comes
Mhm.
with the whole set. I don't know how you guys felt about the movie, because I thought the movie's pretty good. Now the book's a lot different. It's quite a bit,
Mhm.
obviously, but there's a lot more to it. But in
Yeah.
fact,
Yeah.
I never
the
did see it.
Japanese. Oh, you didn't see Alita: Battle
Mm.
Angel?
I haven't either. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Robert Rodriguez directed it,
Oh, wow.
and
Okay. Yeah.
I've got it in my
it
collection. I
was-
haven't watched it yet.
it was originally bought, I think, in the 80s, because this come out in the 80s. I'm pretty sure it come out in Japan in the 80s, I believe. And it was originally optioned by James Cameron. James Cameron
Mhm.
wanted to direct it, and but he got tied up with making these latest movies, the
Avatar.
Avatar movies, yeah, and so he never made it. So he kind of passed it off to. So I kind of like to see maybe a James Cameron version of this, because I feel like it might have been a little grittier, maybe.
Mhm.
Mhm.
But at least I've got more of the Terminator vibe, kind of vibe in my head when I'm thinking about that. The original Terminator, I like a much grittier movie,
Mhm.
but which I don't think he would have produced by the time he would have made that. So I don't know.
Right.
So, but this is
Hmm.
it's a good movie. It's Alita's found in like there's this big floating city over top of, and it's kind of takes place in a post-apocalyptic world, sort of post-apocalyptic. It's after like some kind of big space wars happen. So there was all these floating cities, and there's one left, and it's over, and it dumps all of its trash into the city below, and the people who live in this floating city, nobody knows anything really about them, because they're like, you're not allowed up there. You had to buy your way there or get there. But basically, he finds this part of this cybernetic robot in the garbage. The main guy, the doctor guy, and he takes her back and repairs her, and he finds out that she used to be the book's a little bit different, so it's not all got into all of it yet, but the movie, she's like, she'd been a soldier for the Martian army before, and she was like this special super soldier that used this karate style, but she was basically a super soldier, and so it's a pretty interesting story.
Yeah, that sounds
Has
good.
some
I think
good-
there's a
yeah.
4K. I think there's a 4K out of that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I might,
Yep.
Yeah, I might check that out, because I've
Yeah,
seen it for a long. I've seen the box, the cover a bunch of times, but I haven't ever searched it out. There's so many movies.
You're not kidding.
I picked this up. I don't know if you can see this.
Oh,
Oh,
the
neat.
Godzilla.
It's the
Yeah.
somewhere in there. There's a book, but
Yeah,
Oh,
it
wow.
was a steel book.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah.
it's the novelizations
Buffers.
of the first two movies
Oh, wow. Okay.
from the original Japanese text.
What did you? hold?
Godzilla Raids Again from University of Minnesota, I think, put it out. But it was translated into English for the first time, and they released them over here.
Nice.
It just came out.
Hmm.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's pretty
University of University of Minnesota Press, Shigeru Kakayama. So there we go. Hey, you can sort of see it.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I'm
Mr. Dan, I
seeing
didn't see.
I'm seeing that a lot more. A lot of comic versions of movies and stuff, and I got this Dawn of the Dead set, and it's got a pretty thick little comic version of it.
Mhm.
Kind of manga style, but not really. Kind of sort of. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think I've seen
yeah.
the Godzilla -1 trailer.
Yeah. A new one just
Yes,
came
I
out
did.
beginning of November. I think it was.
Can't wait for that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got my ticket for the first day.
Mm.
I will be there.
When does it come out?
November 30th.
Okay.
And Kenny, you said Shin Godzilla was pretty good, right?
Yes,
Oh, that's awesome.
that's
okay.
really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's very talky.
The same
But-
people do this one. I've actually not looked into it too
The-
heavily yet.
The new one?
-1, yeah.
Yeah, it's done by a different director.
Oh, it is.
He made I don't know who he is and I don't know his name, but I know he was the director of, I believe it was a comedy show in Japan, and one of the episodes that he made had a Godzilla like cameo in it, and you can find it on YouTube. And everybody said, "Oh man, I'd love to see a full length version of Godzilla that looks like that." Well, then Toho, I guess, this is just my speculation, they hired him maybe because of that feedback or whatever, and he's a huge Godzilla fan, and so this one goes back to Godzilla being evil and being a sort of a I think it doesn't have anything to do with any of the previous movies or anything. This is all right after World War II, where Japan is sort of still suffering from the aftermath of the nuclear explosions in Nagasaki and Hiroshima. And that's where the title comes from, is just when you think things are bad, they get worse. And that's what it is. That's what Godzilla -1 means, that things are bad at 0 and then they get worse -1, because Godzilla attacks Japan after they've already been devastated by the atomic bombs. So it's from what I understand and what the trailers make it look like, Godzilla is super badass. So it's
Looking
not.
forward to that.
Yeah. So it's what I liked about Shin Godzilla too, is that he was just totally morphing into different
He had
forms.
an edge to him.
Yeah, he had an edge to him. He wasn't very fast or anything. This Godzilla is like, could run circles around him, because they show him in the trailer like biting a passenger train, and he's whipping his tail around and knocking buildings over. I mean, he's super fast. And Shin Godzilla, he was sort of lumbering and very big in his final or next to final form. But he was
But he was
super
terrifying. His final weapons terrifying.
Yeah, absolutely.
Shin.
Yeah.
Now
that was awesome.
what I was going to say is, why I was asking about the director, because the guy that directed Shin Godzilla, he directed Neon Genesis Evangelion, the anime series, and I love that series.
Yeah.
And actually, when you watch the movie, there's some telltale audio signals to the show, because there's like the sirens that go off whenever Godzilla is coming. That's the same sirens that are in Evangelion.
Okay.
That's really
That's
cool.
cool.
There's some different things. There's those little things. When I was watching, it's like, that seems. So I looked it up. And I was like, that is him. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I still want to get that big box set that Criterion put out.
Yep.
That covers what period of Godzilla?
The Showa era.
Yeah, Showa era. Yeah. I mean, right now Barnes & Noble's doing that 50% off thing, so I don't know. Sometimes Amazon matches it, so I might check that out. But
Yeah.
I like to eventually get it before it goes out of print.
Yeah, I got that a couple years ago. My wife picked it up for me for Christmas, and
Yeah.
I went on eBay and I bought special cases for it, because the box that it comes in, the packaging is just not too conducive to not scratching the discs up. So I just got.
What-
I think
It's
there are
hard to get
5.
the.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
They're hard to get out.
Yeah.
On the one
yeah,
side, they're like it's real rigid, so you got to like kind of pry the disc out too. It don't want to
Mhm.
come out. They don't want to come out very easy because
Yeah.
usually you have a little flex in a
Mhm.
page like that, and then you can flex it and pull the disc away. But this one,
Yeah.
you can't do it. It's
Mhm.
I've
took
never
'em out
done it,
once.
but I need to.
Yeah. I took them out once, and that was to put them in the case that I can get them in and out of real easy. So I have
Yeah.
Yeah.
the original packaging stored away somewhere, and then I've just got the boxes on my shelf.
Yeah. That's what
Now,
I've heard.
guys,
Yeah.
is there a big difference between the Blu-ray and the DVDs?
Yeah, they
For
look good.
yeah, they look
Yeah,
Okay,
really
no,
good.
the reason why I'm
yeah.
saying is I own every Godzilla movie on DVD except for Shin, which I got on Blu-ray.
Mhm.
But it was like the set that I got, it was like it's going for like $150 now. For some reason, I bought it for 10 on
Oh,
eBay.
I think I know which one you have. You have that. Do you have that green one?
Yes.
Yeah. I know that one. That was going for a lot right after it came out because it came out and then it went out of print pretty quick. Because I think
Yeah,
that
I
came
don't,
out
I
to
don't,
capitalize.
I don't know
on the-
how I went looking for like Godzilla movies and I had seen it and the guy
Mhm.
only wanted $10 for it and I was like, sold.
Yep, I think
You
that came
know?
out around the time that the '98 Godzilla came out.
Mm.
Yeah, let me see if I
Yeah.
can pull it up. Yeah, because
Yeah.
I just love
What-
it because
What's your
I
guys' feelings? What's your guys' feelings on the '98 Godzilla?
Gino.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I heard it was
It
just
wasn't great, but it was good.
yeah, it was okay. I mean, the one with Matthew Broderick in it, is
Mhm.
that the one? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
okay, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I thought
Maybe he was
Godzilla looked
miscast
kind
a
of
little bit.
dumb in it, though. Yeah, I thought
Yeah,
Godzilla didn't look. They tried to make him like a realistic, actual creature
Right.
Mhm.
based
Yeah,
on.
he didn't.
Yeah.
He didn't
Well,
have
there's-
any of the things that made him Godzilla.
Yeah.
And they put him in Godzilla Final Wars. I don't know if you've ever seen that, where
Mhm.
the real Japanese Godzilla fights Zilla. They call him Zilla.
Oh yeah.
Yep, that's the
just
one.
that. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh well.
Yeah, that's a
pretty
good set.
nice.
Yeah, that has
I
the
got that. And that's why it's like, do I really want to upgrade it? you know, spending over $100 on it when I already have them. You know, yeah, because the lowest price is $132.
wow.
Oh, for the Criterion.
No,
No,
for
for the
that
sets
set
that I
I
Oh,
was
got.
oh,
showing.
for
DVD.
that
That's for
for
the
that set. Okay,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
that set. Okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah, when I only spent $10 on it, $10.60 with tax. So I'll take it. You know.
Yeah.
And I just got it because I'm a fan of the. You know,
Yeah.
because I
Yeah,
have I
I
have
know.
them I have them all I have them all except for um there was another one that just came out, Raku of the Gods.
Oh,
Hamilton Book had it, and you know what I'm
yeah,
talking about, right? Sean?
Rago. Yeah,
Rago.
God of the Sea
Yeah.
Monsters.
Hamilton Book
Yeah,
had it. The third one, the new one that just came out in 21, had it
Yeah.
in my cart, and it sold out.
yeah.
So I never got.
Does
That's the only thing from Hamilton Book
Those
I
are
never
bad.
got.
does
Oh,
that
they are
set have
bad.
Godzilla? Does that set have Godzilla versus Biollante on it? That's the one Blu-ray I don't have, and it's like out of print. It's like went out of print as soon as they released it, or for some reason,
Mhm.
it's impossible to find and not find it. You might be able to find it. Kenny will pull it up. It's like, oh, it's 1995 here.
Yeah.
But
no,
it-
What is
have
it? Godzilla versus
Biollante.
Biollante. It's like the one that came out in the 90s. It's like it's basically Godzilla versus like environmental disaster, sort of.
Yeah, that's
you can get it on the DVD. It's $42.99 on Amazon right now.
yeah. I think Miramax released it.
I'm
so
talking about Blu-ray because they released a Blu-ray set of it.
Yeah,
It
Yeah,
was
it is
it
from
was one of
Miramax,
the.
Sean.
Well, is that Blu-ray right there?
No,
No,
it's
it's a
only
DVD.
on DVD.
Oh, DVD.
No
Yeah.
Blu-ray available.
Yeah. I
Well,
think
it
that's
got
one of the-
released. Oh, shit. It got released.
Yeah, I have the Blu-ray.
Do you?
Mhm.
Look at
Yeah,
you.
it came
Good
out.
job, Sean.
Well,
I
Godzilla stuff
have
comes
been.
out, I usually buy it on the first day, so
Oh, okay.
I get lucky. But yeah, that went out of print really quick, and I think the problem now is because it was Miramax with the rights, sort of like Dogma.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think that it's going to have a hell of a time
Did
getting
it-
back on Blu-ray.
Did it come out in one of those dual sets like that?
No, Mm-mm.
No,
it
it
just
was a
by
single
itself?
one.
Is it
Yeah.
just single?
Do you have the dual set with King Ghidorah?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Because that one's
I'm
going for like
amazed. I'm amazed
150.
John knows exactly where everything is. You come here and you'd be like unpacking boxes.
I know where some things are.
He knows where some things are.
Oh, okay. Are you, Mike? Are you a big Godzilla fan too?
Yeah, I'm a pretty good fan. I mean, I don't have as much stuff as I would like, but I mean, I totally grew up watching those on Saturday afternoons with my dad. It would come on like it seemed like all the time, and but it's those like weird 70s ones, like I don't know, that little period of they would always show those and stuff. But yeah, I do. But it's kind of overwhelming because if you look at all the different Godzillas, all since the original, it's like there's tons of movies, you know.
Yeah, I think what are there 26 of them now?
Yeah, I
27?
think you're right.
Something like that. It's crazy.
Yeah, it always seems like, and then there's like a lot of sets, and I don't know which set to really go for, you know.
I just got the 3-pack of that on from Dollar Tree.
Yep.
The King Kong versus Godzilla.
Oh yeah, those are the Scorpion releases. I have all those too. Yeah, Godzilla versus Hedorah.
Mm-hmm. That's cool.
Yeah, I got all those first day they came out. Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry
Yeah,
that where I picked them up, they're not in order now. So
Yeah.
shit.
I-
What happened to my-
I got
Yeah,
a
that's
3-pack
shit.
recently. I'm trying to think of, I can't remember what was on it. I'll look it up.
Space
I
Godzilla.
just like watching that. Like they used to come out on like Comet. Yeah, you
Mhm.
guys
Is
have
this the one
Comet?
you were talking about?
Yeah, that one. I think that one goes for like
Mothra.
150 now.
Mothra. Yeah.
I think that's the one.
Yeah.
Because those all
John,
went out
where
of
did
print
you
pretty
pick all
quick.
those up at?
We have a store called Hastings. It's not open anymore. And they had them all, like it was before one of the I guess the first Godzilla, the recent movies that come out, the first one that came out is before it came out. They just started getting them. They started picking them. Damn, this one wasn't open. I know I've watched
Which one's
it. Godzilla versus Destroyer.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know. Haven't opened it for some reason. I thought I'd watched them all. This is Godzilla, Tokyo SOS, and Final Wars. This is one of the later ones, I think.
Yeah.
Come out towards the 90s, I believe.
Yeah, I have a list on my phone of all of them because
Yes,
I'm missing one. I know I'm missing one.
That's my
Godzilla
favorite
movie.
right there. Giant Monsters All Out Attack.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Godzilla versus King Ghidorah Mothra one is going for over 100 on eBay. That one was hard to get too. Godzilla 1984 for a long time.
This one didn't open either, but this is just like some I've seen, Mothra 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah,
Birth
I
of
think that one
Mothra.
too. Those are more aimed at kids.
Yeah.
They're a little painful to watch.
And
Oh
Son
yeah,
of
Son of
Kong.
Kong.
Yeah, I got that one.
I got that in that special effects collection with them and Beast from 20,000 Fathoms and Mighty Joe Young.
Mhm. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
This was a pretty good movie. I guess it's kind of a it's a kind of a spy movie, Cloak and Dagger. Fritz Lang.
Oh wow,
Oh,
That's
I don't
cool.
have that one.
Yeah, I got that on a Eureka, Eureka Blu-ray release. Is pretty cool.
Yeah, this was not that good, but
Escape
Escape from Area 51.
yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty low budget. Now it was nice. You got to see a lot of girls in tight clothing. It was that type of movie, so it was good in that aspect. But I don't think there was any nudity in it. So, but it was pretty silly. There wasn't really any
Yeah.
Escape from Area 51.
Mhm.
But it does have a supporting actor in it. I can't think of his name. It was this guy right here. He looks familiar, but I'm not sure what he was in. He played like the bad guy alien, and he was fucking funny. Like he was comedic timing. He was funny, and I mean, it was kind of bad lines, but he was like actually trying in the acting. So it was kind of interesting. This was pretty good. I'm pretty sure you guys have seen that. Yeah.
Phoenix Forgotten.
Yeah.
I never seen that one.
Yeah.
We were talking about that with Katie.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's good. Of course, I picked that up this week. I saw it in the theaters, but it was pretty good.
Is that any good?
I liked it. I thought it was all right.
Okay. Yeah.
You checked it out yet?
I
Kenny?
haven't. I was just going to say I haven't. John was nice enough to give me the digital code for it, but I have not watched it yet.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now,
I
this
haven't
was
seen it
good.
yet either.
This was good. I posted that other night. If you guys
Yeah.
remember that.
Oh yeah, I was
And-
wondering what that
Yeah.
was. Yeah.
I'm a
Yeah.
Superman. Yeah. It's a documentary about the making of the Tony Hawk game.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Pretty good little skateboard documentary too.
That's
It
cool.
says on here, so it's one of the best skating documentaries ever, but it's not as good as like the, I guess Bones Brigade, an autobiography that came out several years ago, and then
Yeah, that's good.
that Tony Hawk one that came out like 2 years ago was really good too.
Mhm.
That they
And there one
HBO.
isn't there one like something to do with Dogtown?
Dogtown
yeah.
and Z Boys.
Z Boys,
Yes.
yeah.
That played at my theater back in the day.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, that one, and
Goldeneye, right?
Bones Brigade autobiography. They're both directed by Stacy Peralta. He was one of the original. He's the original Z Boy, and then he founded the Bones Brigade. And he was obviously Pal Peralta. He was the co-owned that company, George Powell. But he one of the first times I came to Louisville to watch a movie down there was actually to see his documentary called Riding Giants that came out like 99, 2000, came around 2000 maybe. No, maybe it's a little later. Maybe it's around 2005, excuse me. But it was just it was a big wave surf documentary that he made. It was really good.
Yeah, some of those are really good. Yeah, I like that Bones Brigade one. That's really good.
Yeah, that was really good. Dogtown is good too. Have you seen that, Mike? If
Yeah.
you haven't, you should check that out. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I got it. Yeah, that's good. And then there's like Lords of Dogtown or something, but that's more of a movie. But
That's like the dramatization, isn't it?
yeah, that's pretty good too. It's not too bad.
It wasn't too bad, especially when they had. But they had. I think Stacy was some kind of consultant on it or something. He was involved to some degree, but I didn't. If he couldn't have too much because they changed some stuff around. I was like, yeah, well, they did, but they, it's a movie. They may not have been able to get permission from all the guys either. They may not have wanted to give them their name. One probably wanted money to have their name associated with the movie, so they probably had to change a bunch of characters.
Probably.
Yeah, but Shin Godzilla, that the whole movie, it's a very terrifying, a very adult Godzilla
Mhm.
versus some of the other. And I think that I've been pretty happy with for the most part with all the newer Godzilla movies that's come out. The first one, you just don't see Godzilla enough.
Right.
And then the latter. Now, Kong Skull Island is fantastic. I love that
Mhm.
movie. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because it's the same way. It's like that the open, the kind of when you're introduced to Kong finally, like him attacking the helicopters and
Mhm.
when they're flying in, it's just like it's brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I mean it's a
It's really good.
fantastic opening. Yeah.
Yeah. It grabs you and keeps you
Yeah.
entertained throughout the entire movie. And Samuel L. Jackson plays a good wacko in it. And
Yeah.
it's just, yeah, that's a really good movie. I think of the MonsterVerse movies, that's probably my favorite. I like Godzilla King of the Monsters just because it was like an American version of the Japanese movies, like in
Yeah.
terms of the way it was just so zany and over the top.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It just sort of
Had a
threw
nice look
realism
to it,
to the
too.
wind. Yeah, it was a fairly decent looking movie, and one of my favorite parts of going to see it at the theater was there was a little kid sitting a couple rows in front of me, and he was into it. And I'm like, there we go. There's the younger generation getting into Godzilla. He bought in hook, line, and sinker, and he was just like, Godzilla, I love him. I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I like to see.
Yeah.
So Godzilla versus Kong was it kind of went way over the top.
Mhm.
And that
Yeah.
whole Middle Earth, Hollow Earth thing, what not Middle Earth, Godzilla versus the Hobbits, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
But the Hollow Earth thing, which is what they're going to play up in the new one, he kind of lost me on that.
Yep. I don't know if he's here anymore. I'm keep missing his
Yeah,
his thing. Yep.
But
But-
I don't know. I think Godzilla -1 is going to be amazing.
Is there another Verse movie coming out? Is there is there one slated? Another Godzilla
it's-
versus Kong movie?
Yeah, it's I've heard 2024 June-ish, maybe March, June, somewhere in there. I can't remember the full title of it. It's kind of let me see. It's
I think some of the better. I mean, for American made like remakes, they've been pretty good. But has Toho had some kind of? Did they have some involvement in those movies? Did they have some?
Yeah,
Like-
well, they license the characters, and they will
Yeah.
say what you can and cannot do with the character,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
they're
that's what I
very
thought.
protective. But yeah, it's Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire is what the new one's called.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, so we'll see. There
I'm
hasn't
up
been a
for
trailer yet.
anything like that.
Oh yeah,
I didn't hate Versus though.
No, it was
No.
just a little way over the top, which
Yeah.
Sean,
you have,
expected release is April 12th, 24.
is that what it is? Okay, all right, cool.
No.
It says under IMDb, it says pilot under wraps.
Nice.
Ah,
Can you see
Okay.
that?
plot kept under wraps.
Yeah, kept
Plot.
under wraps.
Yeah, I
Plot
know there's
under wraps. Yeah.
I know there's a new Kong, like an elder Kong. I don't know if that means there's going to be like a prequel part of it, or it's going to give away the history of that Hollow Earth stuff, or what. But or like a backstory on how Kong and Godzilla were, why they're going after each other in the last movie. I don't know. It looks interesting with the bits and pieces
Yeah.
that I've seen on the news groups and stuff. But
Sean, you were talking about the little boy that you seen the reaction with
Mhm.
Godzilla versus Kong. I think that was our same reaction when we first seen Star Wars in the
Yep.
in theaters.
Yep,
And I
exactly.
think that's the films today. Not to go back on the whole Marvel thing, but I think that's the wonder of
Mhm.
watching these movies.
Yep.
That just totally blows your mind.
Yeah.
Yes.
And just to see that, I would have liked to seen that little boy's face, when he seen that,
Yeah. I mean, literally, I got chills when the Godzilla music came on at the end, And the kid just stood up and he recognized the music as the Godzilla theme. And he was just like, Godzilla, I love him. And I was just like, I got chills now just thinking about it. It was awesome because that was me
That's
when
really
I was
cool.
that age. You know,
Yeah.
little dorky kid loving the Godzillas and rubber suits, you know, men in rubber suits knocking down models. Oh, the classic Geostorm.
What did you think, John?
It was so. It was, the action was all right. I think it was a little silly towards the whole premise of it was a little silly, but it
Okay.
was.
My thing with that
I like
is-
Gerard Butler.
I
all
like
right,
Gerard
yeah.
Butler too. He's like one of my top 5 favorite actors. Okay, if you just go into that and just think, okay, Kenny, you're going to be entertained for an hour and 45 minutes, and not think about the plot and stuff, the movie hits all measures. But when you think about it, like you're, you know, at McDonald's, you're eating your, you know, cheeseburger or something, going, this was so stupid, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, when you think about it, because I mean, you're probably like me when you'll go to like a Burger King or McDonald's after a movie or something, you talk about it, you know, what you just seen. And then when you think about it after a while, it's like, I can't believe I just spent $12 on that damn thing. You know,
Yeah.
it was so stupid, you know?
Mhm.
What I like though, and what I love about disaster movies, how many disaster movies? It's supposed to be like an Earth-based disaster movie. Of course, there's things, but how many of these movies end up in space? Like they,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Armageddon.
fun.
I mean, all this stuff was like
Moonfall.
space-based stuff. Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
Moonfall. Ooh.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
like I was like me and Kenny. Was that before Sean came on, or did we all three talk about that?
Oh,
I
Or
think
was that just
Moonfall.
me and Kenny? Or
Yeah,
did
I think that was
me and
before
Mike
Sean.
and
Yeah, it was
was
the
that
3 of
before
us.
Yeah.
Sean?
talking
Yeah, we
about
talked about it. I wanted them to see it. The
Yeah.
Yeah.
thing about that movie is I like the ending, and I wish the ending, the last third of the movie, that was the movie. The
Mhm.
whole stuff about the moon and all that.
Yep.
I wish
That
that
whole-
was the movie.
The backstory of that movie was way more interesting than the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You're right, Sean.
And that's kind of how I felt about the second Independence Day. Like, I think the stuff that got set up for the next movie, if it had made him money and could have made a third Independence Day, that whole
Mhm.
war with the other, I think that's a more interesting movie than the movie they made. And that's
Yeah.
two Roland Emmerich movies that he's made like that, where he thought the background of the movie is more interesting than the movie that got made.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't
Hmm.
seen the second Independence Day, but yeah, I remember watching it, and when I wrote my review of Moonfall, I'm like, when they introduced that whole backstory thing that's narrated by that little kid, I can't remember now because it's been a while since I've seen it, but that whole thing was so interesting and so well thought out, and the world building in that was amazing. And I'm like, I'd rather watch 2 hours of this than what we got.
Mhm.
Do you think there
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
two different editors with that or something? Like they were trying to tell one story, and then they're like, "Oh, dude, you gotta put more stuff into this to make it more exciting." Yeah,
I have no idea.
that's
Yeah,
how
it's
I
hard to
kind of think
say.
about
Yeah.
it when
Mhm.
certain stuff. It's like because there's some movies that you go into and it's like you can get into it, and then all of a sudden it just takes you on a sideways, and they just like to blow shit
It-
up.
Probably that's the story that last third of the movies was the story that he took to the studios, and they were
Mhm.
like, this isn't enough or something. You got to write more to it. There has to be some,
Yeah.
or something
shit
like
has to
that.
blow up.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Hey, listen, guys, I got to drop. So,
Okay.
All right,
I hate to
Sean,
cut
take
out
care of
on-
yourself, bud.
All right, man.
See you
Yeah.
later.
See ya.
Take it easy, Sean. Yep.
All right.
Bye.
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 Yeah, there's some movies like that out there that are just like, why were they edited it wrong, or
Mhm.
stuff like that. You just wonder why they were done just to add explosions or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, Independence Day 2, I'm guessing. I mean, I like watching it. Don't get me wrong. I think it's got some interesting things in it. But I believe why it was obviously, I think we all probably know it. There had to been another script written with Will Smith in
yeah.
there,
Yeah.
and I think the story would have had to been much different. And I think they probably went and got it approved, and like the movie approved, obviously, and he was like, and then he wouldn't do the movie. And they're like, well, what the fuck are we going to do? We got a green light to make this movie. So they had to do a rewrite of the movie. And
Yeah.
it kind of weakened the whole thing, because a lot of the stuff wouldn't happen if he'd have been alive in the movie. It had to be I love to see that original script, because there had to be one. There had to been one, because I guarantee they were planning on having him come back. Will Smith, excuse me.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I think that's what happened, John. That's what I thought when I first saw it too.
Yeah.
Because they had like Vivica Fox. They had her die in like the first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
She's like, wow, she's gone. The big actor. It's like,
yeah, there was some quick plot conveniences to move the script move the plot along away from those original characters.
Yeah,
I didn't mind what they did. It just wasn't as strong as the first movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of that had to do with Will Smith, his charisma and star power at the time, and it was exciting. But I think he could have still brought the same edge to it, kind of like Tom Cruise is now. I mean, he can still bring it, when he,
I don't understand. I don't know if it was a money thing or it was just a scheduling. He might have been making something else at the time, but I don't understand why these actors, I mean, they just get arrogant, I guess. And of course, we've seen everything but Will here lately. We probably can understand, but why they don't come back and do like a franchise like that, unless he refuses to do. Well, no, that's not true, because he did Men in Black too. So I say maybe he refused to do sequels or something like that. But why don't you come back? And that's what made him a star. That's what made him a movie star, is Independence Day. I mean, he wasn't really on fire. Excuse me, Kenny. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Finish your.
No, he just wasn't. He just wasn't. He was on fire to some degree with Fresh Prince. Obviously, he had some clout, but I mean, he blew up super big after Independence Day. So why not come back and give her pay respect to the people that kind of put you in that position that made you a superstar? It's really weird, but that's not the first time it's happened in Hollywood.
Wasn't he the king of the 4th of July movies for like 4 or 5 years? Because I think he had that, Men in Black.
Well, that one Wild Wild West wasn't a big hit. Was that a big hit? I can't remember if that was. I thought it bombed or something, but
I don't know.
I think it made its money back like on video.
Yeah,
but he had that. Well, plus he had the big song too. I mean, that soundtrack sold like crazy.
Yeah, every movie he did back in the 90s, was a pretty big blockbuster hit, for the most part,
Yeah, he was like very bankable. But like your point with it might have been that they just didn't agree with the script, and maybe his agent told him, say, hey, Will, you might want to back out of this.
Maybe the money wasn't right.
It made $222.10 million. And when did it come out? I don't know. Let's see.
It's like 98
or 99, right?
Mm-hmm.
Here, I'm looking at Box Office Mojo here.
Yeah, I think it was 98. Okay. Like the big blockbuster movie. Oh, 99. Okay.
Okay. Domestic domestic is only 27 million. So I don't know. What was the budget of the movie? Where's the budget? 170 million. So it was kind of a bomb domestically. It did make it look like it made its money back altogether with the probably Chinese market.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, worldwide. And Will's huge overseas too.
Yeah.
Huge overseas.
Well, I said all releases here. I don't know. It says 113.84 million, international 108, worldwide 222 altogether. So I don't exactly know the total.
It-
27 might be opening weekend.
Yeah, opening 27.
27.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it says that here.
Yeah.
Gross was 113, but it costs 170. So, but that's domestic opening. I mean, domestic. I think these are domestic opening and gross opening. So that's
Yeah,
not
so
total.
domestic, that's just here in the United States. I mean,
Yeah.
overseas, I mean, like all those Tom
Yeah.
Cruise movies make, like the Mission Impossible movies and shit.
Yeah.
They make tons of money overseas
Yeah.
because, like, especially like over in Britain when he's over with Graham Norton stuff. Those guys make tons of money overseas.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why you see like talking about like
Yeah.
the CSIs and stuff like CBS. Those might make their bankable here, like the NCISs and stuff, but overseas, man, the syndication rights and stuff like that CBS gets. That's why you have shows that go for 14, 15 years. All the CSI Miamis, the New Yorks, what's the Las Vegas, all those, because they're huge syndication.
Yeah,
Sort of like a tentpole movie.
I think they have to do 5 seasons.
Is that right?
And then they can get the syndication rights and stuff.
Yeah,
I think it's 5 seasons.
100 episodes or something like that.
Yeah,
it used to be like 100 episodes. Used to be like 100 episodes.
Like the big thing.
Yeah, because that's real big. Is getting that syndication money, because then you're good for life on that. Especially like Seinfeld and stuff. Man, he don't have to work. He don't have to work again his life,
Yeah.
But,
like Larry David was the same way. He was super rich by the time when he did like Curb Your Enthusiasm, because there's jokes in Curb Your Enthusiasm about it, like where they like somebody's like giving him shit about something. He said, "You take you and your $70 million and shove it up your house," something like that. Somebody gets mad at him.
Yeah.
Well, I think the first bit, I might be wrong about this, but wasn't the Friends getting $1 million an episode? Was like the really big tentpole, and then Kelsey went in and renegotiated his contract for Frasier after that. I might be totally wrong, but I mean those guys were making 25 episodes a year, so they're making $25 million plus the syndication rights that show makes. I mean, Perry I think they said Perry was making about $50 million a year, and he wasn't even working.
That's weird.
And if he goes over, does like personal appearances and stuff like that, one of the friends is coming over to England or something like that, So it's like they can just that's just like crazy money that's in Hollywood, that we don't even know about,
Yeah.
I can't believe there's that much money in advertising. I can't believe they charge that kind of money to advertisers. Yeah. Because I mean they have to, because like even YouTube, the amount they pay out to different, pay out to people who are monetized. I mean, it's incremental, but some people make big money who get a lot of views, like millions of views. You get paid big money. So I mean, the advertisers have to be shelling out lots of money, millions of dollars. It's crazy to think that much goes into advertising.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look like they mind paying it either, John.
Who? Oh yeah,
YouTube.
I'm paying it.
Or the advertisers alone, they don't seem to mind, because I mean, I don't. There's some people out there today that don't even work. They just are like, what do they call them? Influencers.
Yeah. Yeah, there's different avenues too. Just like YouTube's probably there's different ways. Like a lot of the people who probably make real big money, some of them are obviously like your people who have millions of followers, those who appeal to young audiences, and they get a lot of ad revenue. And some people might have only 50,000, but they but they're sponsored. They're like got a cooking show or something. They have sponsors, and the sponsors pay. These sponsors pay big money. Like these, if you ever see an ad read, like in these, I don't know. I've never really heard what they talk about. I've heard some of them hint, but some of these contracts they get paid are big money for some of these channels. They get a lot of money. It's crazy.
Yeah. And then if you got a Patreon and you're
Yeah.
making, you got that, and then, yeah, I mean, I saw the other day that I think YouTube gets more views than Netflix. Like that's how big their audience YouTube is.
I
on a
believe
lot of
that.
stuff. So
The TikTok's probably even bigger. That's what's hurt YouTube in the last couple of years is TikTok. But I have no interest in doing TikTok. I'm never starting TikTok.
nah, I think I have one, but it's stupid. It's just goofy stuff I've messed around with. It ain't nothing serious.
Yeah, but we're not the dynamic for that. We're not the demographic for that either.
Yeah.
No.
I don't need. I know
there's a
I've
lot
heard
of
of
stuff
TikTok,
on there,
but I
but-
have no idea what the hell it entails. You know what I mean?
Mainly a bunch of girls dancing badly.
Yeah. Shaking
The
booties.
people
and
do a
stuff.
lot of different things. I think you can do live streams over there, but I don't know if we can do a whole show like we're doing now on there. I don't really know how it works. I don't really. I just don't care about it because see, it's all tied up with that Chinese stuff. It's a Chinese company basically, ByteDance.
Mhm.
And like in China, they don't have any of the dancing, any of the stuff that's like kind of more been detrimental to the mental health of teenagers and stuff. You know, the stuff that's going around.
Mhm.
They only have like more state propaganda on there. It's like, how can we make this, make the country better type videos are allowed on there. Anything that builds up the state, that kind of stuff. But we got this dumb people. I mean, yes, our platform, if you look at it, is more freedom of speech oriented, obviously. I agree with it there. I don't want them to get rid of it. I don't think it should be gotten rid of. I don't think it's at all healthy, but social media in total is not really healthy for anybody.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
but my big argument about social media is we're so early into it. We don't know the true effects of it. So I can't really, it doesn't look very good for us, but who knows? People adapt, culture adapts. So I assume we're just going to have to adapt with it. The younger generations will hopefully not
It'll
blow
get
up the
to a-
fucking world.
Yeah, it'll get to a certain point where it'll top out and something else will come
Yeah.
along to
Yeah.
a different generation, and it'll come back again, kind of like records and stuff, so everything kind of goes around and stuff. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, social media is crazy though. Yeah.
Have you gone on the X now? What was Twitter? I mean, everything you go, if you respond to like somebody I was responding to one of my friends that I actually know. He's a writer
Yep.
for the Inquirer, and I was asking him a question about the basketball game, the Sixers game last night, and I get all these porn bots, hey, check out my cam channel and stuff like that, and I'm like,
yeah.
I asked a question about Joel Embiid, not like hey honey, how are you? It was a basketball.
Well, that's all I've been getting here lately on there. Like you don't follow any of those people, obviously. I'm sure you don't,
no.
but yeah, I don't even follow these people. And I still get it constantly. That's who responds. Like if I tweet something or if I post like anything about this show, I don't even post anything about this show anymore. That's who responds to it. It's never anybody real. Every now and then it'll be somebody, but very rarely.
Yeah.
No, it was just like because with my Twitter that I use because of my page that I do my my entertainment blog, I just check in there for like stuff that happened in like the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, and uh, there's a guy that has this is pretty cool, Mike. He does old movie ads
Mhm.
for like
Yeah.
that certain day.
Yeah.
And I find that interesting. Like today, Suspicion opened up, and they had
Oh,
like
okay.
the New York Times ad, the movie ad for
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's
Suspicion.
cool.
Yeah, that is
So
cool.
I thought that was pretty neat. But it's like all of those that I get are like from like either wrestling, movies, entertainment and stuff, and then I'm getting like hammered with like all the sex stuff. And it's like,
Honestly, I think the only thing that I have a X account. The only thing I read is when Kino will post something like a new release is coming out
oh,
sometime,
okay.
and that's about it. I'll check that, and I'm back off of it again. It's like I don't really get on there, and so
Yeah, that and Diabolic.
yeah, Diabolic DVD or
Yeah,
something.
they're
Yeah,
they're in South Jersey. They were from where I was from. So
okay.
I like follow them with like I haven't never bought anything from them, but I always follow them, you know. But
Yeah,
it's just weird. Ever since that Musk guy took over, it's gotten like all messed up, you know.
yeah, yeah. He
Well,
wanted
I
to.
mean, the things he did was good in the long run, but I don't know why the bots have come in strong. I think it's
No,
because of him. I
I don't
think
think the
they're
stuff that he's done, John, has been disruptive because it's like
yeah,
if you wanted to talk to, say, you were like a famous person, okay,
yeah,
and you had the check mark next to your name, you knew
yeah,
I'm talking to John, the famous person. Now
yeah,
people have X's next to their name
yeah,
that have like 8 followers,
yeah.
you know, and you don't know like if I'm getting like stuff for like football, like talking to my nieces and stuff and my friends like for our fantasy league.
Mhm.
If
I'm
I
talking
knew
about freedom of speech reasons because a lot of people were getting hammered by the like Elon was on Joe Rogan the other night and was talking about it with kind of what was going on is like the people who kind of took over Twitter. See, initially the people who designed Twitter wasn't very leftist. They weren't very liberal. They weren't they were liberals, but they weren't like these lefties. But where is Twitter located in? It's located right next to Berkeley, which is completely overrun with lefties, super lefties. So everything to the left of these people, like anything to the right of these people, are super. They consider right wing, even liberals. So everybody's getting censored. Even people on the left, I believe more people on the left were getting censored than people on the right. So he changed a lot of that stuff, and he came in and exposed the Twitter files that the government was actually in cahoots with them and doing it, and that's called fascism, and that's not good. That's his whole point,
Yeah.
So I'd like it for that point. Now I don't know who, other than that, I haven't seen any good improvement because of the bots, and I don't know if the sites just got overrun with bots because they want to, fuck over Elon or what. But
I used to see it a lot during people's live streams. Bots would come up, but I haven't really seen that in a long time.
Yeah,
like live streams were
sorry,
getting just
Kenny, I jumped
overrun.
in on top of you.
Oh no! I thought that was interesting. I didn't. I was just explaining what I did, but see, I don't watch like the live streams either, Mike. So I wouldn't catch that with the bots and stuff like that.
Yeah, every once in a while I would see it, but I haven't seen it in a long time.
I don't like that. I don't like that Tesla truck they're coming out with. Everybody loves it for some reason. It's interesting, but I don't love it. I don't like it myself.
I don't know.
You know how much that thing weighs? It weighs like 8,000 pounds because he had one in Joe Rogan's compound because they were talking about it. The door panels will actually withstand bullets more so than a regular truck. It's not really bulletproof, but it'll withstand a 9mm 45 or something like that.
Oh, wow.
So Joe was like, he said, I wish I had my bow and arrow here with me. I have like a 90-pound compound bow. But he's like, oh yeah, I do have one here. But he had like an 80-pound one, a lighter weight one. But he had like an actual, whatever the end. I can't think of the name of the end right now, but it's the one you use to hunt. It's like a really sharp. It's like razor blade, super strong. So
Yeah.
he's like, and Elon is like, he said, let's shoot it at it and see. He said, I said, I wouldn't withstand that. So he went out there and he shot he wasn't that far away from him. He's no more than 20 feet away when he shot the bow and arrow, and it didn't even dent it. It completely smashed in the end of the arrow, and it didn't even dent that stuff's kind of cool, but it's 8,000 pounds. That's heavy with all those batteries. That is heavy.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
like a F-250, like a heavy duty gas truck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The big news in my town is they're building a battery plant. Ford is SK, and so I don't know how that's going to go, but
Yeah, I don't.
it's expensive. To get to have to buy a replacement battery and cars and
Yeah.
just
Well,
where to charge it and stuff.
it's interesting you mentioned that, is because apparently the insurance company are having a hard time insuring these cars. They don't want to insure these electric cars because all the replacement values in the battery. So basically the batteries go bad. You might as well fucking send it to the scrapyard and buy a new car, because costs more to replace the batteries than it does to replace the car.
Yeah. It's kind of like the airbag kind of, most cars are totaled after the airbag comes out,
Yeah.
in most cases. But yeah,
But
I don't know,
yeah,
man.
I don't have a problem with trying to develop new technologies. I don't have a problem. I think it's cool. But if I had the money, I'd buy one for, a toy, drive around town. It would be fun.
Mm-hmm.
But see, Elon, in that interview, kept saying he's talking. Joe was talking about the mileage, and he's like, yeah, they're doing 300-400 in the Tesla, so 304 miles. And he said, yeah, I don't have a problem with the mileage or nothing like that. I do. I want to drive more than I want to drive out of state somewhere, I want to drive more than, I want to drive more than like a few hours and then have to recharge for an hour or more.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Sure, if you just live in LA, you live in a city, or live in any city around the state, driving around is fine, but it's not an option for long range. Not at this point.
Yeah.
And I watched a guy's video about a month ago, and he had bought one of these trucks, not a Tesla, but one of these other manufacturers that makes electric trucks. And he had to drive. I think he lived in like North Carolina, and he had to drive. He had to fly up to New York to buy it, because he found the dealership up there. He sold it, and he was like, "Well, I'm gonna drive it back." So he's trying to drive back down the East Coast, and he can't. He starts slowly realizing he can't hardly. He's having trouble finding places to charge the damn thing. He had to go way out of his way to find chargers and find people's houses to charge at. It was a joke, man.
Yeah. That's my thing about it, because it's like, I mean, eventually, if they ever took off good, they would have to be like big, instead of gas station, they'd be a charging station. But I don't have any idea how long it takes to even do a full charge on something like that. Like, I don't know if you could just drive in, charge it for 10 minutes and be good to go, or if it takes a day or what.
It depends how the chargers, because how good the chargers are. The chargers have like basically when you hook to them, they have like a mile per hour charge rate or something. It says, well, how many miles per hour is it charging or something like that. And some of the real good ones will charge, you can charge in 30 minutes, a good Tesla charger or whatever. I don't know the different ones, but I
could look it up.
Some of them are slow. Some of them are slow. Like if you just had to plug into your house through an ordinary outlet, those are slower than hell. That'd take you days to charge. But so you got to put in like the big 220 volt units and stuff like that to really charge. So
yeah. In my town, I think there's 2 places, and one of them is actually a McDonald's that has one, which is weird.
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't know. Do you charge your car while you're eating? You know what I mean? I guess I could look all this up. I just never really looked into it. But
I think
Yeah.
that's the premise behind it. You can, stop and, charge. Because he kept going on about something about how you only have to charge to 80% because it's quicker between 10% charge to 80%, like it's how the protons or whatever, like when you're the electrical, whenever it's trying to find this, it's easier for it to charge between that two. I'm not going to explain. I understand it because I went to school for it, but it charges so you don't charge because it's harder for it to charge between that last 20% than it is that 70% place right there. It's like trying to find a parking place in a very busy parking space. Like it's easy to park whenever the parking lot's empty. It's easy to park. Whenever it's full, it's harder to park. It's kind of that
Oh yeah.
logic.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I don't know. I did pick this up this week, guys. I think I put it on the thing. I picked up the new Duel.
Oh yeah,
That is beautiful, Mike.
It's from
was that Best Buy or who did it come from?
Groove.
Groove. Okay.
Or GUV.
Is that 4K?
Yeah, it's a 4K. It's got the Blu-ray and it's got a digital.
Yeah, that's a good looking cover.
That is beautiful.
What's cool in it is it's got the original TV version of
Edit?
it.
Oh, neat.
Yeah. I thought that was pretty interesting. But yeah, I pre-ordered this way back, I think in the summer, and it finally came out. I got it the other day. I mean, I had it on Blu-ray already, but I thought, I'm gonna upgrade to that. I love that movie, so I just thought,
Yeah, it's a really nice steelbook.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool.
This wasn't that good. That's something I've had setting for a while, and I finally watched it. And
what was it called again? I'm sorry.
Anna and the Apocalypse.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I think that's on the Shudder.
Yeah, I'd had it set and I'd bought it a long time ago and then watched it. When I was going through my zombie movies, I realized I hadn't watched it, and it's like a musical. It's like a zombie musical.
Oh, okay.
And it's cool. It's an interesting concept, but the music in it's just all like pop music. It's just, and it's obviously, and it's all kind of, I mean, musicals kind of are, but it's all kind of obviously just overdubbed to it. It's not like West Side Story, something that's meant to be good, and I'm not a big musical fan, but this one just wasn't that good.
Yeah.
It would have been better not being a musical and just being like kind of that story, just another zombie. But it would just been a regular zombie movie if it hadn't. So.
Yeah. I also got this I think about a week ago. This is on DVD, but it's the 3 Naked Gun movies, and then it's got all of the Police Squad.
Oh, that's cool.
The TV.
Wow.
So it's basically two movies. So you got all the trilogy, and then you got all the Police Squad episodes.
And that's on DVD?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
It was like $5 and it was brand new. And I know it's getting ready to come out on 4K, the trilogy, but I just thought, I'll go ahead and get it. I thought it was cool.
Is that on Amazon, Mike, or is that on?
I found this. You can get it on Amazon or eBay. I got this on eBay though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Also,
I was talking to John last night, and I picked up I'm a big Kids in the Hall fan. Do you like Kids in the Hall?
Oh yeah.
I just
really cool.
I was talking to John last night. We were talking about the show, and I said, "Man, I seen this, and I don't know if I should pick it up." And he goes, "Get it." So I did. It was the complete series of Kids in the Hall.
Oh wow.
On DVD.
Yeah.
So it'll be here the 13th. I'll show it off when I got it. That's the only thing I bought.
You didn't pay very much for it either. It's it's the complete set with the slim cases.
Yeah, I'll show you what it is. It's it was $27, and
that was they had at least 4 or 5 seasons, didn't they? About at least
they
4?
had 5.
Okay, yeah.
I picked this one up, Mike.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're doing that also with the monster movies, the Universal. They've been doing those packs. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
pretty cool. It's cool to find one of those old sets, even though they're DVD, but the sets, like a special box set or something.
Yeah.
They're still really interesting,
That's why he kind of
Yeah.
twisted my arm when I said, "Should I get it?" He goes, "Yeah, go get it."
Yeah.
So it was like kind of twist.
Yeah, because I have 3 of the sets that look like that set that you got. I have 3 of those, and then they released like a couple of other ones after.
Yeah, I have the first 2 seasons of Kids in the Hall, but I wasn't being able to catch the other, the other 3.
Mm-hmm.
So when I seen that last night, I said, "John, you think that's
They released
thing,
that
yeah.
set later on. I got season 4 and 5. The first 3 seasons are kind of like that set you had, but they released this one later on. It's like a different.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loaned my friend, and I never got him back. He sadly passed away, but it was kids. It was like their concert films that they did. Like Kids in the Hall, Men in Dresses, and of course the movie Brain Candy. I had that, and there was another one that they did. Like they had taken a long hiatus. It was like early 2000s, and they went back on tour again.
Yeah, they relaunched the show though, didn't they? Like
let me tell you, watch it on Amazon, Mike. It is so funny.
Oh yeah.
There's one where Dave Foley is a DJ, a doomsday DJ, and he keeps on playing the same song like over and over again. He goes, I forget the song. Oh, I like my my roller coaster, my the roller skating one.
Oh yeah.
I took my roller, I got a brand new pair of roller skates.
Yeah, that one.
So he's like, and he's like in this monotone voice, and he's just sitting by like a 1970s record player in his like mom's basement. He goes, "Let's play this again." And I'll say like Guy Lombardo sings brand new roller skates. He plays it, and then he just like looks over to the camera and he goes, "Yay." And he goes back, and it's like, and he's just playing the same damn record like all over, and he goes, "We're here 24 hours a day. Let's play the song again." And they do like intersperse like different clips, how they did like on the old show. But then they go back to when he's like, "I got a brand new pair of roller skates."
Yeah, I have to check that out.
Do you guys remember the Ben Stiller show?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
that was good.
Yeah, that was really funny. That wasn't on very long though.
Yeah. It's like 1 or 2 seasons.
Didn't he did the Fox show first, and then they took it to MTV, right?
Yeah, I remember it on MTV.
Oh, okay.
Mostly.
See, I remember it from Fox because I think it only lasted like 3 weeks on Fox.
Yeah.
But then again, that was when Fox was like
edgy,
kind of pushing the edge with stuff,
Yeah. They had he had a lot of people come from that show. There was a lot of famous people like Janine Garofalo and like
Andy Dick
Bob Odenkirk.
Bob Odenkirk and Andy
Bob
Dick.
and David were on there.
Yeah. Well, they weren't. It was just, the main cast was Janine, Andy Dick, and Bob Odenkirk. But I think what's his
Dave
name
was a
comes on
writer.
once. Yeah, he might have been a writer.
Yeah.
I think he appears in like one of the sketches too, here and there. There were some other people. Yeah.
I was going to say I did a video recently about Mr. Show. That's another one of those little. It came on HBO, and it was only on for like 3 or 4 seasons, and it was really kind of the same kind of similar humor as Kids in the Hall, and that kind of very.
Yeah, I love that show.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
The one that sticks out in my mind Mike, you'll probably remember this. Oh, Piss Boy, where they're in the restaurant.
Oh yeah. They bring the bucket. Yeah.
Yeah, they bring the bucket, and Jeannie Garofalo's sitting there eating a nice dinner. Oh, Piss Boy. I just, for some reason, that one always sticks in my head all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but it just caught me funny.
Yeah. There was some good stuff in the 90s. I don't know. I just couldn't see a lot of that nowadays. Well, I mean, if you can do it on Netflix or something like that, maybe you can get away with it. But
The State was good too. Did you ever watch The State?
Yep.
yeah, I remember the
Yep.
State. Yeah.
I have that
They
here
They had a
somewhere.
lot of. You're right, Mike. They did have a lot of good stuff, in the
And, like,
90s. That
yeah, and, like,
you
what
couldn't
was
get away
it?
with now.
Freaks and Geeks, I think, was another
Yeah.
pretty decent
Man.
show. And
Yeah.
had a lot of people come from that.
And you know why that was canceled, don't you?
Mm-mm.
That was
I don't think
canceled
so.
because the WWE had started up the XFL.
Mm,
Yeah, that's a great show. Let me tell you,
Yeah.
that
yeah.
I think one of the most perfect episodes is the premiere of that show.
Hmm.
When when Come Sail Away starts in the dance, man, it just
Yeah,
that kills me
Strangers
every time.
Strangers with Candy's another really good one. I love
Oh
that
yeah.
show.
Yeah.
Never gotten into that.
Then there was
Really?
like
God, that's funny. Amy Sedaris.
I
Oh,
love
yeah.
I love Amy Sedaris, but I never got into that show.
Oh, that show, you can go back and watch that. That's funny. Some funny stuff, man.
there was that one
It's
show
like-
called what was it, Reno 9/11?
Yep.
Mike, I was
911.
just gonna say that to you.
Oh yeah.
I just started watching that, and that show is fucking hilarious. Pardon my French.
I didn't watch a lot of it, but I did like what I saw. I think I maybe saw a season or so, and then I don't know. I didn't get to see any other seasons for some reason.
My buddy's a cop, and he said, "You gotta watch this. You gotta watch this show." And I'm like, I keep on pulling them, and there you go. Oh,
Yeah.
I might have to get that
Yeah.
because they only play like the new seasons now, and I
Mhm.
haven't seen too much of them. But man, let me tell you, I love Wendy McCovey. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, the State.
I really
Yeah.
enjoyed that show when that was on The State.
Yeah.
I want to dip my balls in it.
See, you couldn't even say that now on TV.
Probably not. Somebody would cry about it.
Yeah.
So it's just funny, guys. Be so serious.
Trying
Yeah,
to think
'cause
of that show.
Because I was saying earlier that I've been watching like a lot of sitcoms. 30 Rock, man. You watch, and that is so raunchy with the
Mhm.
humor and stuff.
Yeah.
And you didn't think it was that raunchy when it was on 96, 97,
Hmm. Yeah.
Man, it's so funny.
Yeah. That's yeah, it's true. That's why I was kind of pushing it a little bit. So it was kind of like, oh, well, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like the whole thing with Don and Sally, the officer,
Yeah.
Newman and Sally. Just the double entendres just in there,
Yeah.
I have that cheap set of 30 Rock somewheres. It's one of those Mill Creek that's got the
Yeah, that's
kid-
the one I got. It was like you can get that, Mike, if you like that show. It was $15 on Blow It Out of Here.
Oh yeah. The
Yeah.
whole season.
Yeah, I don't
Oh,
know
the
where
whole
it's at.
series.
It might be in the
the
other room.
complete series for $15.
Yeah.
That's really cheap. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
one of those. It's one of those sets. It's got the hard box, but it's got the cheap flap on the top, and it's got the little cards. Is that how
Mhm.
yours is?
Yeah,
Kenny?
because I got that.
Which-
I got that. And
That's
Married with
fine.
Children.
That's fine, but because you get the whole damn series,
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like, and that's the only. And seriously, guys, I think that's the only way it's going to ever be put out because I don't see, Universal putting out, third reference.
That-
Oh, I love that
that's-
show too.
yeah.
I like Ellie Kemper so much.
Yeah.
I
Did
don't
you ever
remember
watch that show, Mike?
I don't remember it. I mean, it's slightly familiar, but I don't.
she's basically like raised in this bunker with a cult, and John Hamm is the cult leader.
Oh,
And
okay.
she goes and basically lives with this gay guy, black gay guy, and her landlord is Carol Kane from Taxi. So it's just like so funny, and she's so perky, and like everything's
Yeah.
like rainbows and sprinkles and stuff like that. And but it's just like so funny the predicament she gets into.
Yeah, she was. Yeah, she was right. It was like a cult. She was like in this, but it was like one of these doomsday bunker cults, and like he like basically kidnapped him and raised him in a bunker, and they emerged. It's like it's kind of based on. Remember when there was a real story about that? You remember that about 10 years ago?
I vaguely remember it. Yeah.
Yeah, there was like a real story about that happening. I think that's where they ripped it off from. But yeah. What's the black guy's name? It's like on the tip of the tongue. It's
I brought my phone over here.
there's a band that called themselves that now. It's
Titus.
sorry. Yeah. Wrong.
Titus.
What's the last name on it? Titus
Burgess.
Oh, the character name. It's
Titus Andromeda.
Yeah.
And that's like that's how he introduces himself. Titus Andromeda. Like that. Because he's a very
he's pretty good
flamboyant guy.
Yeah, he's like a Times Square performer, basically. He's one of these guys that dresses up in Times Square and type of guy.
If you have Mike, if you have the Netflix, it's on Netflix.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Tina Fey's on there too. I didn't see.
Yeah. And so's Jane Krakowski. I love Jane Krakowski.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You have to check it out.
But it's like so funny because like and Amy Sedaris is in it too. She plays Mimi. I remember that. But like the John Hamm bunker, like they're like living in the squalor, the three girls, okay? They're like living in squalor. And then the other side of the bunker where John Hamm is, there's like a pool table, a jacuzzi. It's just like it's so out there. It's so funny. A big like 80-inch TV like on the wall and stuff like that. And he's like, I'm slumming it, ladies. Like,
But I don't think they know about it. I think they're like,
no, they didn't.
Yeah, because the show starts out them getting out of the bunker, and like I guess she kind of moves to New York or something. Yeah, and
she's
like
basically like her room is basically like a half of a room.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out.
Well, like when she moves into Titus's, when she moves into his apartment, he's got like that little room. She's got that little room. She said, "No, this will be fine. It's literally behind the shower curtain type of room, her room."
Oh well,
that's a funny show.
If that hits on Black Friday, I have to pick that up because I really enjoyed that one a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I did like that.
Yeah, there's so many shows nowadays because Netflix has so many, all the channels,
Up with them all.
Yeah, everybody's got their own, sitcoms and original movies and everything. So that's like, man.
Yeah.
This is good too. I love this show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this box came. You see how fucked up it is? It came like that. I just kept it. I was like, well, as long as the discs are good, I don't really care too much about it. But it was rough. This is brand new. Came like that.
Yeah, Mill Creek. Well, John, about those ones that you were talking about, they're like in sleeves, and you got them. Yeah, they're down in the box. Those really suck in the middle of the night when you're trying to switch discs in the dark, and you have to get a flashlight and read like, okay, this disc has because I got some like that with movies on it, and it's like, oh man. But that's the only thing. That's the only drawback about it. But otherwise, it's okay.
Yeah. I mean, in general, though, I'm glad Mill Creek does what they do because they actually even with the Blu-rays, they're like a little bit lower quality, but at least they're getting the stuff out there and pretty,
Mhm.
you know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I do commend them on that.
Yeah.
This isn't open, but it's one of those sets. I picked it up a while back, but 'cause I've seen so many of them as a kid. But it's one of those Mill Creek sets, though.
Yeah, the Rockford
Okay.
Files comes like that too, John. If you have the Rockford Files.
Oh yeah.
Well, I do, but I've got the Blu-ray set of it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got the
yeah.
DVD version.
Yeah.
It was $24.90. I recommend that Blow It Out of Here. He does a good job with and he gets your stuff there really quick. And plus,
Yeah.
if you buy 2 or more, you get 15% off.
Yeah.
So
Did you guys? I've got it pre-ordered, and they re-releasing the Police Academy set? Shout Factory is.
Mm. Okay.
no, I have the one version. I don't know if it's. I think it is Blu-ray that I got. I got off of eBay.
Yeah. I think there's one that's got them all.
Yeah, the yellow box. This one has
Yes.
a better cover. The reason I was thinking about canceling it, but I did find out that it's new transfers on all the movies.
Hmm.
It's supposed to
this
look
is the
better.
one I
Yeah.
got.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I'm gonna go ahead and pick it up because I usually don't do that, but it seemed like I remember. Are the transfers good on that? I can't remember.
Yeah,
I've watched them
thought they
when
were
they
pretty
first.
good.
It's been a long time since I've watched it.
Yeah.
Now we just need a good set of Revenge of the Nerds. All 3 of the Revenge of the Nerds movies on Blu-ray.
Mm-hmm. And what about Porky's? Did that ever come out? It's
Yeah,
on
I got
Blu-ray, but
the. I have the. And I didn't know this was like very expensive, Mike, when I bought it. But Sean told me it was like really. Yeah, it's going for over $100. It's this set right here.
oh yeah, I looked at that because
That's
see, I
nice.
was looking for Bachelor Party, and I ended up
Yeah,
getting
That's
the
pretty cool.
I got the UK release of it because it was cheaper and it actually had extras on it. But yeah, that 3-pack is very expensive for some reason.
Yeah, I paid $10 for this on eBay,
Oh
Nice.
wow. Yeah.
and
That's
I'll tell you when I bought it because 2/10/20. That's when I bought it.
Damn.
oh wow. Yeah,
And
that was a real
it was-
deal.
Yeah, because I don't like to spend like too much like on the eBay just in case I get like shitty stuff. You
Mhm.
know.
Yeah.
I think that's the most I spent, the $27 on the Kids in the Hall, but I really wanted that a lot because,
Yeah.
like I said, I only have the first 2 seasons on DVD.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was going to say earlier when I was showing the Alita Battle Angel stuff, like they made it's only like basically 2 episodes, but they made an anime of it back in the, I guess, 80s or probably was made in the 90s,
really?
80s or 90s, but it's only available on Laserdisc. That's the only place I've ever been able to find it,
Wow.
except for YouTube. You can watch it on YouTube with the English translation. So I don't know if they were going to consider transferring it sometime, but as far as I can tell, it's never been put on DVD. But you have to basically buy it out of Japan, and I don't really want to pay $80 to $100 and then $30 for shipping on top of it. Because after I watched it, it's not bad, but it's only 2 episodes. It's basically 2 segments long, and that's all they ever made of it.
Yeah. Yeah, you can order a lot of that stuff. There's a Japanese site. It's like an auction site. I forgot what it's called, but you can get a lot of that stuff.
Oh yeah.
A lot of it's in Japanese though. That's why I've never been
Yeah.
able to really maneuver around in it very much. But
Yeah,
Can't
I'd
think
love
of
to
what
have the
it's called.
Cowboy Bebop stuff. Like the Cowboy Bebop stuff's on Laserdisc too.
mm-hmm. Yeah,
But it's all Japanese, so it'd just be collecting it really. It wouldn't be really functional. But I
Yeah.
like to have it anyways, but I've never
yeah,
it's expensive to get usually the whole set or get part of the set. It costs so much money to get it shipped that it's not
Mhm.
really worth it.
yeah. That's one of the big pros of Laserdisc if you're an anime fan, because back in the 80s, 90s, Japan was putting out a lot of their animes on Laserdisc, and that's in some cases that's the only way you can really look at them now, or physical form.
Yep.
So
People like used to talk about Akira. That was the first
I
way
was just
people
gonna
could
say
see
that because I
Akira.
think my buddy picked that up
mm,
on Laserdisc when that came out.
Well, it first came out. Most people were like, I don't know about that. You might be able to get the Japanese, but I think the first versions people were watching, we didn't even get to hear it in English. It was only Japanese at
Mhm.
first before it got transferred over. But there's later copies of it transferred, obviously.
Mhm.
But
Wasn't there a Dracula one that came out too that was anime on Laserdisc?
I don't know.
I
can't
the only
think
reason why I said that is because when I was working at Movies Unlimited, one of my friends who came in and just got all the anime stuff, and he ordered that. Oh, that's yeah.
Yeah, I got that one too, John. That's really
yeah,
that's a
I
great
think
set.
I think they made a box version though, didn't they? Didn't they make a box
Yeah,
that I never
think,
have looked for?
Yeah, I think it might be an import, and there might be another version of it, because that was the first time it had a dub, was with that Criterion print.
Yeah.
It had that English dub, and there's something else about it that fans didn't like, and when it went to DVD, they changed it or something. Maybe it's something to do with this. It may have been with the dubbing. It's probably with the dubbing.
Yeah, that's
Mike,
that's
why have you here? Did
that's
you ever hear of a
typical with
movie called
anime.
Ells?
What was it?
ELLES. Ells. It's a
Els?
French movie with Juliette Binoche.
Els. It's not ringing a bell.
Oh, okay. I figured I'd ask you about it too.
Yeah, I know who Julian, Binoche is, but I don't know. I have to look that up.
Yeah, I see it. It's available on Kino Lorber, so I was just interested if you had heard about it too.
I haven't heard of it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, there's a
fellas, we're
ton of
we're
French
about
stuff.
for 3 hours 36 minutes.
Yeah,
I want to get off here.
yeah, it's about that time.
Yeah, been on a while. It's been fun as usual.
Mhm.
Yeah, we had a good conversation tonight.
Yeah, we always find a lot to talk about. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, everybody, we'll see you guys next week. I don't think there's anybody here now. we had a pretty good audience at the beginning, and I think we
Oh, that's cool.
tired them out. Yeah.
Yeah, we have been getting a lot of people stopping in nowadays. A lot more,
Yeah. Well, thanks everybody for showing up. If there's anybody left, so we'll talk to you guys later, and until next week. Good Movies
See ya.
Podcast.
Yeah, see you guys.
See you,
Later.
Mike.